Title: Whispering Pines. Chapter 1. The Arrival. Emma Hartley stared out of the window of her new cabin, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows through the dense canopy of whispering forest. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, a stark contrast to the sterile, lifeless environment of the city she had left behind. For months, Emma had fantasized about this escape, an idyllic retreat where she could mend her shattered spirit after the loss of her husband. Yet, as she took in the expansive view of the secluded town of Whispering Pines, a lingering sense of unease gnawed at her. The cabin itself was a relic from another era, its wooden beams weathered by time and nature. Vines clung stubbornly to the exterior, creeping up the sides like skeletal fingers. Emma had purchased the property site unseen, relying solely on the photographs and the reassuring words of the real estate agent. Now, standing at the threshold of her new home, she couldn't shake the feeling that the cabin held secrets of its own. Pushing aside her apprehension, Emma stepped inside. The interior was dimly lit, the late afternoon light filtering through dusty windows and casting muted patterns on the floorboards. The air was cool and still, carrying a faint whisper of memories long past. She took a deep breath, trying to anchor herself in the present, and began to unpack her belongings. Each box she opened seemed to echo through the empty rooms, the sounds amplifying her isolation. As evening approached, Emma decided to explore her new surroundings. She wandered down the narrow path that led from her cabin to the heart of Whispering Pines. The town was small, with only a handful of buildings clustered together. A general store, a modest church, a few residences, and the community library. The streets were lined with towering pines, their branches intertwining overhead to form a natural canopy that dimmed the daylight. Her first encounter was with Mr. Blackwood, the enigmatic neighbor who lived in the oldest house in town. Tall and gaunt, with piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through her, he stood at the edge of his property, tending to a neglected garden. Emma approached him with a polite smile, introducing herself as the new resident. "Welcome to Whispering Pines, Miss Hartley," Mr. Blackwood greeted her, his voice smooth but carrying an undertone of caution. "If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask." Emma nodded, feeling a chill despite the warm evening air. There was something unsettling about Mr. Blackwood, an unspoken tension that made her skin prickle. She thanked him and continued her walk, hoping to find other neighbors and perhaps some semblance of community. Next, she stopped by the local library, a quaint building with ivy-covered walls and large oak doors. Inside, the librarian, Clara, welcomed her with a warm smile. Clara was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and an air of quiet wisdom. "Welcome to Whispering Pines," Clara said, handing Emma a catalogue of local history books. "If you're interested in learning more about the area, you'll find plenty of resources here." Emma thanked her and browsed through the catalogue, her fingers lingering on the titles that hinted at the town's storied past. As she checked out a few books, she couldn't help but notice the hushed whispers that seemed to fill the room, as if the very walls held their breath. Back at her cabin, night had fully fallen, and the forest loomed outside like a dark, impenetrable barrier. Emma lit a lamp and settled into a chair with one of the history books Clara had recommended. She read about the founding of Whispering Pines, a settlement established over a century ago, and the various legends that had been passed down through generations. One story, in particular, caught her attention: the tale of the Whispering Woods. According to local folklore, the forest surrounding the town was haunted by restless spirits, remnants of a tragic past that refused to rest. The legend spoke of eerie whispers that could be heard on moonlit nights, voices that lured unsuspecting travelers deeper into the woods, never to return. Emma felt a shiver run down her spine as she turned the pages, the room growing colder despite the lamp's warm glow. She dismissed the stories as mere superstition, a product of small-town imagination. Yet, as she glanced out the window, the trees seemed to sway unnaturally, their branches clawing at the night sky like skeletal hands. Determined to shake off the unease, Emma decided to take a short walk around her property. The moon was high, casting silvery light that danced on the forest floor. She stepped outside, the cool night air enveloping her, and began to explore the perimeter of her land. The silence was profound, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. As she walked, Emma noticed a narrow trail leading into the denser parts of the forest. Curiosity piqued. She followed it, the path winding through towering pines and thick underbrush. The further she ventured, the more the whispers from the legend seemed to come alive. At first, they were faint, almost imperceptible, but gradually they grew louder, a cacophony of indistinct voices that seemed to beckon her forward. Her heart raced, a mix of fear and fascination compelling her to press on. The trail eventually opened into a small clearing, bathed in moonlight. In the center stood an ancient stone monument, covered in moss and entwined with ivy. Intricate carvings adorned its surface, depicting figures engaged in mysterious rituals. Emma approached it cautiously, running her fingers over the weathered symbols. A sudden gust of wind rustled the trees, and the whispers crescendoed into a haunting melody. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she felt an inexplicable presence, a weight pressing down on her chest. She turned to leave, but the trail had vanished, swallowed by the darkness of the forest. Panic set in as she realized she was lost, the path back obscured by the shadows. Desperate, Emma called out, her voice echoing through the trees, but only the whispers responded. She stumbled through the underbrush, branches scratching at her skin, her mind teetering on the brink of fear and disbelief. The whispers seemed to form words now, fragments of conversations that made no sense but filled her with dread. As she pressed forward, the clearing seemed to stretch endlessly, the monument an imposing sentinel in the never-ending night. Emma's thoughts raced. Had she been lured here by some supernatural force, or was her mind playing tricks on her in the isolation of the forest? The line between reality and illusion blurred, her senses overwhelmed by the oppressive atmosphere. Just when she felt her strength waning, a faint light appeared in the distance. Hope surged within her as she hurried toward it, the whispers fading behind her. The light led her to a small, abandoned cabin, its windows dark and doors ajar. Emma hesitated, unsure whether to seek refuge or continue her search for the path home. Summoning her courage, she pushed open the door and stepped inside. The interior was cloaked in darkness, the air thick with the scent of decay. Moonlight streamed through broken panes, illuminating remnants of past inhabitants, dust-covered furniture, tattered curtains, and remnants of a life long forgotten. Emma felt a presence here, the echoes of those who had sought shelter within these walls. A sudden noise, a creak of floorboards, made her jump. She spun around, heart pounding, but saw nothing. Mustering her resolve, Emma explored the cabin, searching for any signs of life or a clue to guide her back. In the corner, she discovered a worn journal, its pages yellowed and brittle. Carefully, she opened it, the handwriting faded but legible. The entries spoke of fear and desperation, of nights filled with whispers and shadows that moved with intent. The author had written of a presence that haunted the forest, a malevolent force that preyed on the vulnerable and the lost. Emma felt a chill as she read the final entry. If you find this, beware the whispers. They are not merely voices, but harbingers of doom. A sudden coldness enveloped the cabin, and the temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Emma shivered, clutching the journal to her chest. She knew she had to find a way out, to escape the forest and the unseen horrors that lurked within. But as she turned to leave, the door slammed shut, the sound reverberating through the cabin like a gunshot. Panic surged as Emma realized she was trapped. She pounded on the door, shouting for help, but her cries were swallowed by the oppressive silence. The whispers returned, louder and more insistent, filling her mind with a cacophony of voices that threatened to drive her to madness. In a desperate attempt to calm herself, Emma closed her eyes and took deep breaths, trying to steady her racing heart. When she opened them again, she saw shadows dancing on the walls, shapes twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. The room seemed to breathe, the very air alive with malevolent intent. Suddenly, the cabin door swung open, and Emma stumbled back, her eyes wide with terror. Standing in the doorway was a figure cloaked in darkness, its face obscured by shadows. It extended a skeletal hand toward her, the gesture both inviting and menacing. Emma backed away, her instincts screaming at her to run, but her legs felt rooted to the spot. The figure began to approach, each step deliberate and unnerving. As it drew closer, Emma could feel the weight of its presence pressing down on her. The very essence of fear materialized before her. Summoning every ounce of strength, Emma turned and fled the cabin, the whispers morphing into agonized screams that echoed through the forest. She ran blindly, branches whipping against her face, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The path seemed endless, each step taking her deeper into the heart of Whispering Forest, where the boundaries between reality and nightmare dissolved. Just when she thought she couldn't go on, Emma burst out of the forest's edge and found herself back at her cabin. The whispers had ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that hung heavy in the night air. Exhausted and trembling, she collapsed onto the porch steps, her mind reeling from the harrowing ordeal. As dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the trees, dispelling the shadows and offering a glimmer of hope. Emma sat up, staring into the tranquil morning, struggling to reconcile the night's terror with the peaceful day before her. Had it all been a hallucination brought on by stress and isolation? Or had the legends of Whispering Pines revealed a sinister truth? Determined to find answers, Emma decided to delve deeper into the history of the town, convinced that understanding the past might hold the key to her survival. Little did she know, her journey was only beginning, and the true horrors of Whispering Pines were yet to unfold. Chapter 2. Settling in, the morning sun filtered through the curtains of Emma Hartley's cabin, casting delicate patterns on the wooden floorboards. After the harrowing night she had endured, Emma awoke with a lingering sense of dread. Her body ached from the ordeal, and her mind buzzed with fragmented memories of whispers and shadows. She sat up slowly, taking a moment to steady her breathing before rising to face the new day. Determined to regain a sense of normalcy, Emma began her morning routine. She brewed a pot of coffee, the rich aroma filling the small kitchen and offering a semblance of comfort. As she sipped the steaming beverage, her gaze fell upon the worn journal she had found the night before. The cryptic warning still echoed in her mind, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the forest held more secrets than she had initially realized. After finishing her coffee, Emma decided it was time to explore her surroundings more thoroughly. The isolation she had sought was proving to be a double-edged sword, offering both peace and an unsettling solitude. She packed a small bag with essentials: water, a flashlight, some snacks, and the journal, and set out to familiarize herself with Whispering Pines. The narrow path leading away from her cabin was dappled with sunlight, the dense canopy above allowing only sporadic beams to reach the forest floor. Emma walked with purpose, her steps soft against the earthy trail. The town, though small, had an air of quiet resilience, its residents embodying a mixture of friendliness and guardedness. Her first destination was the general store, a quaint establishment with a faded sign swinging gently in the breeze. Inside, the shelves were stocked with a variety of goods, from canned foods to handmade crafts. Behind the counter stood a middle-aged man with a weathered face and kind eyes, his hands deftly arranging items with practiced ease. "Good morning," Emma greeted, offering a tentative smile. "I'm Emma, the new resident. I just moved in last night." The man looked up, his expression warm but tinged with curiosity. "Welcome to Whispering Pines, Emma. I'm Tom, the owner. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask." Emma nodded, feeling a flicker of relief at the friendly reception. "Thank you, Tom. I was wondering if you have any local maps or information about the area. I'd like to explore a bit more." Tom gestured toward a bulletin board near the entrance, cluttered with notices and flyers. "We have a few maps up there, and if you're interested in the history of the town, our library has some great resources. You might want to check with Clara. She knows a lot about our local lore." Grateful for the direction, Emma made her way to the bulletin board, scanning the various notices. A community event was scheduled for the weekend, a welcome gathering for new residents. But what caught her attention were several old newspaper clippings pinned haphazardly among the flyers. The headlines were yellowed and the print faded, but the stories hinted at strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena that seemed to revolve around the forest. Intrigued, Emma tore a few clippings from the board and tucked them into her bag. They spoke of mysterious disappearances, eerie lights seen deep within the woods, and accounts of unsettling noises echoing through the night. The more she read, The more her unease grew, but so did her determination to uncover the truth behind Whispering Pines. With her list in hand, Emma decided to visit the library. The building was a charming structure, its ivy-covered walls and large oak doors exuding an old-world charm. She pushed open the heavy doors, the scent of aged paper and polished wood greeting her. Inside, the library was a sanctuary of knowledge, rows upon rows of bookshelves stretching toward the ceiling. Clara, the librarian Emma had met the previous day, approached her with a welcoming smile. "Good morning, Emma. How can I assist you today?" Emma returned the smile, though her mind was preoccupied with the journal and the unsettling events of last night. "Good morning, Clara. I'm trying to learn more about the history of Whispering Pines, especially any events related to the forest. Do you have any recommendations?" Clara nodded, her eyes reflecting a depth of understanding. "Absolutely. We have several volumes on local history and folklore. If you're interested in the more mysterious aspects, I'd suggest starting with Whispering Pines, A Chronicle of Shadows, by Eleanor Whitaker. It delves into many of the legends and unexplained events that have shaped our town." Emma thanked her and located the recommended book, settling into a quiet corner of the library to begin her research. As she flipped through the pages, the stories became increasingly disturbing. Tales of vanished hikers, strange sightings, and accounts of unexplainable phenomena seemed to weave a tapestry of fear and mystery around the forest. One entry, in particular, detailed the disappearance of a group of teenagers 50 years ago, their fate never fully uncovered despite extensive searches. The more Emma read, the more she felt a connection between the journal she had found and the town's dark history. The symbols she had seen carved into the trees during her night walk began to take on new significance, and the warnings in the journal seemed to echo the accounts of past tragedies. Lost in her reading, Emma barely noticed the passage of time until Clara approached her with a gentle reminder. "It's getting late, Emma. You should take a break and get some rest." Startled, Emma looked up, realizing she had been engrossed in the book for hours. "Thank you, Clara. I appreciate your help." As she closed the book, Emma felt a heavy weight settle upon her shoulders. The peaceful facade of Whispering Pines was beginning to crumble, revealing a hidden layer of darkness and sorrow that seemed to permeate every aspect of the town. Determined to make sense of it all, she resolved to delve deeper, convinced that understanding the past was key to unraveling the mysteries that now threatened her peace. Returning to her cabin, Emma found solace in the familiarity of her own space, yet the shadows seemed to linger longer than before, stretching across the rooms with an unnatural stillness. She placed the journals and clippings on the table, her mind racing with questions and possibilities. What had brought her to this place, and what was her role in the unfolding narrative of Whispering Pines? As the day transitioned into evening, Emma felt the oppressive silence of the forest pressing in around her. She attempted to distract herself by tending to her small garden, the rhythmic act of planting and pruning providing a temporary reprieve from her racing thoughts. The act of nurturing life amidst the encroaching darkness was both grounding and unnerving, a reminder of the fragile balance between hope and despair. Nightfall brought with it a return of the unsettling whispers that had plagued her sleep. This time, however, Emma was determined not to let fear control her. She sat by the window, the journal spread open before her, and began to cross-reference the symbols she had found with those documented in the town's historical records. Her fingers traced the intricate carvings, each one a piece of a puzzle she was desperate to solve. Hours passed as Emma pieced together the fragmented history of Whispering Pines. The symbols appeared to be part of a larger ritualistic language, perhaps used by the cult mentioned in the legends. The entries in the journal hinted at a cycle of events, a recurring pattern of tragedy that seemed to be tied to the forest's dark energy. The realization sent a shiver down her spine. She was entangled in a legacy of fear and supernatural influence that spanned generations. Exhausted but undeterred, Emma decided to confront her fears directly. She grabbed a flashlight, the journal, and a notebook, and set out once more into the forest, determined to follow the trail of symbols and uncover the truth. The path she took was familiar from her previous walk, yet tonight, the forest seemed more alive, the shadows deeper and more sentient. As she ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, a haunting chorus that seemed to emanate from the very trees themselves. Emma's heart pounded in her chest, each step feeling heavier than the last. The flashlight's beam danced across the underbrush, illuminating fleeting glimpses of movement just beyond her peripheral vision. She pressed on, driven by a combination of fear and an unyielding desire for answers. The trail led her to a secluded glade, where the moonlight filtered through the canopy in ethereal streams. In the center stood a stone altar, its surface etched with the same symbols she had been studying. Emma approached cautiously, her breath visible in the cool night air. The altar seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, the symbols glowing faintly under the flashlight's beam. Drawing upon the notes she had taken, Emma began to decipher the ritualistic language. The inscriptions spoke of binding and release, of harnessing the forest's power to achieve a dark form of immortality. It became clear that the cult had performed these rituals in an attempt to commune with or control the supernatural forces dwelling within the woods. The repeated cycles of tragedy were likely the result of their failed attempts, each generation unknowingly perpetuating the same destructive patterns. As Emma stood before the altar, a sense of foreboding washed over her. The whispers reached a fever pitch, swirling around her like a tangible force. She felt a presence watching her, the air thick with anticipation and malice. The realization that she might be the key to breaking the cycle, or becoming the next victim, hit her like a physical blow. Determined not to succumb to the fear, Emma began to recite the incantations she had painstakingly translated from the journal. Her voice wavered at first, but as she continued, a surge of confidence bolstered her resolve. The symbols on the altar began to glow brighter, the energy in the air intensifying. The whispers transformed into agonized screams, echoing through the glade and sending shivers down Emma's spine. Suddenly, the ground beneath her trembled, and a vortex of shadow and light erupted from the altar. Emma staggered backward, the force of the ritual pulling at her very essence. Visions flashed before her eyes, ghostly apparitions of past victims, the cultists lost to time, and the forest itself, alive with a malevolent intelligence. She felt her mind teeter on the brink of madness, the boundaries between reality and nightmare dissolving. With a final surge of strength, Emma broke free from the vortex, the ritual's energy dissipating into the night air. The glade fell silent once more. The oppressive weight lifted, but leaving her breathless and trembling. She knew that the ritual was only the beginning, that the true battle lay ahead in unraveling the forest's dark secrets and finding a way to end the cycle of tragedy. As she made her way back to the cabin, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. The forest, once a place of serene beauty, now seemed to pulse with a hidden, sinister life. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig underfoot, heightened her senses, keeping her perpetually on edge. Upon returning home, Emma collapsed onto her porch steps, the enormity of her discoveries weighing heavily on her. She clutched the journal tightly, the pages now filled with annotations and connections that only deepened the mystery. The path forward was unclear, but one thing was certain. She could no longer ignore the forest's call. Whether driven by curiosity, necessity, or fate, Emma was bound to Whispering Pines, her journey into the heart of darkness only just beginning. As the days turned into weeks, Emma immersed herself in the study of the journal and the town's history. She spent hours poring over old documents, piecing together the fragmented narrative of Whispering Pines' past. The townspeople, though friendly, remained tight-lipped about certain aspects of their history, their eyes betraying a mix of fear and resignation when the subject was broached. Emma's interactions with Mr. Blackwood and Clara became more frequent, their roles in the unfolding mystery growing more significant. Mr. Blackwood, with his enigmatic presence, seemed to possess knowledge that went beyond the surface level. Clara, on the other hand, provided valuable insights into the folklore and legends that had long been part of the town's identity. One evening, as Emma was engrossed in her research, Clara approached her with a stack of old photographs. "I thought these might help you with your investigation," she said quietly, placing the images on the table. The photographs depicted the town in its earlier days, black and white images showing bustling streets, vibrant gatherings, and the forest looming in the background, always present but never fully understood. Among the photographs was a group of people standing before the very altar Emma had encountered. Their faces were stern, their attire indicative of the cult's distinct appearance. long robes, intricate symbols, and an air of solemnity. The realization that these were the very individuals who had attempted the ritual decades ago sent a chill down Emma's spine. As the days progressed, the supernatural occurrences intensified. Objects in the cabin moved on their own. Shadows seemed to flicker just beyond her sight, and the whispers that had once been a distant echo now permeated her every waking moment. Emma found herself questioning her sanity, the line between reality and illusion becoming increasingly blurred. In an attempt to gain control, Emma began documenting her experiences, detailing each strange event with meticulous precision. Her notes grew into a comprehensive log of encounters, patterns, and possible connections to the forest's dark history. Through her writing, she sought to impose order on the chaos, to rationalize the inexplicable horrors that seemed to surround her. One night, as a storm raged outside, Emma received an unexpected visit from Mr. Blackwood. The usually reserved man stood at her doorstep, his expression grave. "May I come in?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma hesitated, then nodded, allowing him to enter. The cabin was dimly lit by the flickering light of a single lamp, casting long shadows that danced across the walls. Mr. Blackwood took a seat across from her, his piercing blue eyes betraying a depth of sorrow and knowledge. "I've been watching your progress," he began, his tone serious. "You're delving into matters that have long been buried, but they won't stay hidden forever." Emma felt a surge of frustration. "I'm just trying to understand what's happening here. The journal, the symbols, the disappearances, it all points to something sinister in the forest." Mr. Blackwood nodded slowly. "You're right. Whispering Pines has a dark legacy, one that has affected every generation. The rituals performed by the cult were an attempt to harness the forest's power, but they unleashed forces beyond their control." Emma leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. "What can be done to stop it? How can we break the cycle?" The man sighed, his eyes distant. "There is a way, but it requires more than just understanding. It demands courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to confront the darkness head-on. The forest is alive, Emma, and it won't relinquish its secrets easily." As the conversation continued, Emma felt a sense of purpose solidifying within her. The path she had chosen was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she knew she couldn't turn back. The forest's grip on Whispering Pines was tightening, and only by facing its horrors could she hope to free herself and the town from its malevolent influence. Days turned into nights, and Emma's determination only grew stronger. She organized her research, cross-referencing every piece of information she had gathered, searching for clues that would lead her to the heart of the mystery. The journal became her guide, its cryptic entries providing fragments of a larger, more complex picture. One afternoon, while sifting through old town records, Emma stumbled upon a forgotten section detailing the construction of the altar in the glade. It was clear that the structure was not merely a relic, but the centerpiece of the cult's rituals. The records mentioned a final ceremony, a last attempt to bind the forest's power, but no details were provided on its outcome. Emma's mind raced with possibilities. If the final ceremony had been successful, what had been unleashed? If it had failed, what repercussions had followed? The answers to these questions were crucial, and Emma was determined to find them. As she delved deeper, Emma began to notice subtle changes in her environment. The whispers became more coherent, their messages more insistent. At times, she could discern phrases urging her to return to the forest, to complete what the cult had started. The shadows in her cabin seemed to grow darker, their movements more deliberate, as if the forest was reaching out to reclaim her. One night, unable to ignore the persistent calls any longer, Emma made the decision to return to the glade. Armed with the journal, her notes, and a newfound resolve, she ventured into the forest once more. The path was eerily familiar, yet the forest seemed more alive, its presence almost sentient, guiding her steps toward her destiny. The journey to the glade was fraught with challenges. The forest seemed to shift around her, trees rearranging themselves, creating new obstacles that tested her endurance and willpower. The whispers were now a constant, surrounding her in a cacophony of voices that threatened to overwhelm her mind. But Emma pressed on, driven by the knowledge that the answers she sought lay within the heart of the darkness. As she approached the glade, the atmosphere grew thick with tension. The air was charged with an otherworldly energy, the symbols on the altar glowing with an intensity that illuminated the night. Emma felt a presence watching her, a force that both repelled and beckoned her closer. Standing before the altar, Emma felt the weight of history pressing down on her. The symbols were more intricate up close, each one a testament to the cult's desperation and ambition. She began to recite the incantations once more, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. The ground trembled, and the symbols responded, their glow intensifying as if acknowledging her efforts. Suddenly, the forest erupted in chaos. Vines snaked out from the ground, wrapping around Emma's limbs and pulling her toward the altar. The whispers crescendoed into a deafening roar, the voices merging into a singular, commanding presence. Emma struggled against the vines, her mind teetering on the brink of madness as the force of the ritual threatened to consume her. In that moment of desperation, a vision overtook her. Images of the past, the cultists' fervent attempts to control the forest, the sacrifices made in the name of power, and the inevitable downfall that followed. She saw the culmination of their efforts, the moment when the ritual had backfired, binding their souls to the forest and condemning them to an eternity of unrest. With this newfound understanding, Emma realized that the only way to break the cycle was to reverse the ritual, to offer a sacrifice that would appease the restless spirits and restore balance to the forest. It was a dangerous proposition, one that required immense courage and selflessness, but Emma knew it was the only path forward. Summoning every ounce of strength, Emma focused her mind, channeling her will into the incantations. The vines slowed their assault, allowing her to complete the ritual. The symbols on the altar began to dissolve, their glow dimming as the forest's grip loosened. The whispers softened, their aggressive tone giving way to a gentle murmur of gratitude and release. As the final words left her lips, the oppressive energy dissipated, replaced by a profound sense of peace. The forest seemed to breathe a collective sigh, the shadows receding as light returned to the glade. Emma stood alone, the altar now a simple stone monument, the symbols gone, but the echoes of their power lingering in the air. Exhausted but triumphant, Emma made her way back to the cabin, the forest now feeling less hostile, its secrets unveiled and its spirits at rest. The town of Whispering Pines seemed to breathe easier as well, the dark legacy lifted by Emma's bravery and determination. She had not only found solace but had become an integral part of the town's history, her actions ensuring that the cycle of tragedy would finally come to an end. As Emma settled into her routine, the supernatural occurrences ceased, leaving behind a town that could finally heal and move forward. The bond between Emma and the residents of Whispering Pines grew stronger, their shared experiences forging a community united by resilience and hope. The forest, once a place of fear and mystery, became a symbol of strength and renewal, its shadows a testament to the darkness that had been overcome. Emma often found herself reflecting on her journey, the challenges she had faced, and the courage that had emerged from the depths of her fear. Whispering Pines had changed her, transforming her from a solitary widow seeking refuge into a guardian of the town's legacy and a beacon of hope for its future. The whispers of the past had guided her, leading her to confront the darkness and emerge victorious, her spirit mended, and her place in the world reaffirmed. In the quiet moments by her porch, Emma would gaze into the forest, now serene and welcoming, a stark contrast to the malevolent force it had once harbored. She knew that the scars of the past would never fully fade, but with the cycle broken and the spirits at peace, Whispering Pines could finally embrace a future free from the shadows that had long plagued it. Chapter 3: Strange Occurrences. The days that followed Emma Hartley's intense confrontation with the forest's dark secrets were a blur of relentless determination and creeping unease. Each morning, she awoke with a lingering sense of fatigue, as if the weight of her discoveries bore down on her very soul. The cabin, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison of shadows and whispers, its walls echoing the secrets of Whispering Pines. Emma spent her days immersed in research, poring over old journals, town records, and the faded photographs Clara had provided. Her nights, however, were plagued by unsettling dreams and eerie occurrences that blurred the line between reality and nightmare. The forest seemed to watch her every move, its presence a constant oppressive force that gnawed at the edges of her sanity. One crisp autumn morning, as the first light of dawn pierced through the dense canopy, Emma decided to take a walk to clear her mind. She grabbed her notebook, a flashlight, and a sturdy pair of boots, determined to explore a new section of the forest that she hadn't yet dared to enter. The path was familiar, but today, the air felt different, thicker, charged with an unseen energy that made her skin prickle with anticipation and fear. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the sunlight filtered through the leaves in fragmented patterns, casting dancing shadows on the ground. The sounds of birdsong and rustling leaves provided a deceptive sense of normalcy, masking the underlying tension that seemed to hum through the trees. Emma walked with a purpose, her footsteps steady despite the unease that gnawed at her. After an hour of hiking, she stumbled upon a clearing she hadn't noticed before. In the center stood a circle of ancient stones, their surfaces worn smooth by time and weather. Vines and moss clung to their surfaces, and intricate carvings were etched into their sides, symbols that matched those in the journal and the altar she had encountered. Emma's heart raced as she approached the stones, her flashlight illuminating the details of the carvings. The symbols formed a pattern, a language that spoke of binding and protection, or perhaps something more sinister. Emma felt a chill run down her spine as she traced the carvings with her fingers, the stone cold and unyielding beneath her touch. The air around her seemed to thicken, the whispers growing louder, more insistent, yet still unintelligible. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and a dense fog began to roll in, enveloping the clearing in a blanket of white. Emma pulled her jacket tighter, her breath visible in the cold air. The whispers coalesced into distinct voices, overlapping and echoing around her, filling her mind with fragmented thoughts and dark images. Leave. Now. Danger. Secrets. Must not be revealed. Beware the shadows. They watch. Emma's pulse quickened as she struggled to make sense of the voices. Her mind raced, grappling with the possibility that the forest was not just a place of physical danger, but also a battleground for her sanity. She shook her head, trying to dispel the intrusive thoughts, but the voices only intensified, swirling around her in a maddening chorus. Desperate for answers, Emma reached into her bag and pulled out the worn journal. She flipped through the pages, searching for any reference to the stone circle. Her eyes landed on a passage she had previously overlooked, a description of an ancient ritual site used by the cult to strengthen their connection with the forest's dark forces. The entry detailed the need for protection against malevolent spirits and the consequences of disturbing the sacred ground. Emma realized that the clearing was the very site where the cult had performed their final disastrous ritual. The symbols on the stones were likely part of a binding spell, intended to contain the dark energy they had unleashed. But something had gone wrong, and now the forest was fighting back, attempting to reclaim what was taken from it. Determined to break the cycle, Emma began to recite the incantations she had painstakingly translated from the journal. Her voice wavered at first, but as she continued, she felt a surge of confidence bolstering her resolve. The symbols on the stones began to glow faintly, their light growing brighter as she spoke the words of power. The fog thickened, and the whispers transformed into a tangible force, pressing in on her from all sides. Shadows danced at the edge of her vision, moving with a life of their own, but Emma focused on the ritual, her mind steady despite the chaos around her. She could feel the forest's energy responding to her, a battle of wills unfolding in the stillness of the clearing. As she reached the climax of the incantation, a blinding flash of light erupted from the stones, engulfing her in pure, radiant energy. The whispers ceased abruptly, replaced by an overwhelming silence that pressed against her ears. Emma staggered, the force of the ritual sending shockwaves through her body, but she stood firm, her eyes fixed on the now serene clearing. When the light faded, the stones were dull once more, their carvings inert and lifeless. The fog had lifted, and the forest around her seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Emma collapsed to her knees, exhaustion washing over her as the adrenaline drained from her system. She closed her eyes, allowing herself a moment of respite, but even in her fatigue, she couldn't shake the feeling that something significant had shifted within the forest. Rising to her feet, Emma glanced around the clearing. The oppressive atmosphere had lifted, replaced by a sense of calm and balance. The shadows that had danced menacingly were now still, as if the forest itself had paused to acknowledge her efforts. She took a deep breath, feeling the cool, crisp air fill her lungs, and knew that she had taken a crucial step toward freeing Whispering Pines from its dark legacy. As she made her way back to the cabin, the forest seemed less hostile, the whispers a distant memory replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves. Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose, her determination to uncover the truth and protect the town stronger than ever. Yet, she couldn't ignore the lingering sense that the forest still held more secrets, its depths yet to be fully explored. Back at the cabin, Emma settled into her routine, though her nights remained restless. The strange occurrences continued, but their nature had changed. Objects still moved on their own, shadows flickered just beyond her sight, and the whispers returned sporadically, now more distant and less aggressive. It was as if the forest was testing her resolve, challenging her to delve deeper into its mysteries. One evening, as the sun set and the forest was cloaked in twilight, Emma decided to visit Mr. Blackwood for guidance. His knowledge of the forest and the town's history was invaluable, and she hoped he could shed light on the lingering questions that haunted her. She trudged through the dense underbrush, the fading light casting long shadows that seemed to stretch toward her with every step. The path was overgrown, a testament to the forest's reclaiming of its territory. After what felt like hours, she reached Mr. Blackwood's home, a large weathered house nestled at the forest's edge, its windows dark and unwelcoming. Gathering her courage, Emma knocked on the heavy wooden door. It creaked open slowly, revealing Mr. Blackwood standing in the dimly lit foyer. His piercing blue eyes met hers, a flicker of concern passing through his stern expression. "Emma," he greeted her, his voice gravelly from years of living in isolation. "What brings you here at this hour?" Emma stepped inside, closing the door behind her. "I need your help, Mr. Blackwood. I've been experiencing strange occurrences since I started my research, and I believe the forest is still reacting to the rituals performed there." Mr. Blackwood nodded, his gaze thoughtful. "You've done well to disturb the forest, but there's still much that remains unresolved. The spirits are restless, and their anger is not easily quelled." Emma felt a surge of frustration. "I performed a ritual in the stone circle to try and break the cycle, but it doesn't feel like it's over. The whispers and the shadows are still there, just different." Mr. Blackwood sighed, motioning for her to sit. "There are layers to this mystery that you haven't yet uncovered. The final ritual was only part of the story. To truly bring peace to Whispering Pines, you must understand the origins of the darkness that plagues this forest." Emma leaned forward, her eyes searching his. "What do you mean? What origins?" Mr. Blackwood took a deep breath, his expression grave. "Long before the cult arrived, Whispering Pines was home to an ancient presence, a force that existed in harmony with the natural world but became corrupted over time. The cult's rituals were an attempt to harness this power, but instead, they awakened something malevolent. To defeat it, you must find the source of the corruption and cleanse it." Emma felt a chill at his words. "How do I find this source? Where is it?" Mr. Blackwood stood, moving toward a large bookshelf filled with dusty tomes. He pulled out a thick, leather-bound volume and handed it to her. "This is the Codex Noctis, a comprehensive record of the forest's history and the dark forces that dwell within. It contains information that could guide you to the source, but it's incomplete and fragmented. You'll need to piece it together." Emma accepted the book, her hands trembling slightly. "Thank you. I'll do whatever it takes to end this." Mr. Blackwood placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Be cautious, Emma. The forest is cunning, and it won't give up its secrets easily. Trust your instincts and stay strong. You're not alone in this." With renewed determination, Emma left Mr. Blackwood's home, the Codex Noctis tucked securely in her bag. As she walked back through the forest, the moon casting silvery light on her path, she felt a sense of clarity. The journey ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she was resolute in her mission to free Whispering Pines from its haunted past. Back at her cabin, Emma delved into the Codex. the ancient text filled with cryptic symbols and fragmented narratives. She spent hours deciphering the passages, the words a mix of Latin and an unknown language, their meanings obscured by time and decay. The more she read, the more she realized that the forest's darkness was rooted in ancient rituals and forgotten pacts, agreements made with forces that demanded respect and fear. One passage stood out, describing a binding ceremony meant to contain the forest's power. It spoke of a heartstone, an artifact of immense power that acted as the focal point of the forest's energy. The heartstone was said to be hidden deep within the forest, its location protected by natural and supernatural barriers. Retrieving and purifying the heartstone was the key to cleansing the forest and ending the cycle of darkness. Emma's mind raced with the implications. If the heartstone was the source of the corruption, finding it could provide the answers she sought and the means to truly free Whispering Pines. But the Codex offered few clues about its exact location, only vague references to landmarks and protective enchantments. Determined to uncover more, Emma decided to revisit the stone circle, hoping to find additional clues, or perhaps a hidden passage that could lead her to the Heartstone. She packed her bag with essentials once more, including the Codex, the journal, and a flashlight, and set out under the cover of twilight. The journey to the stone circle was arduous, the forest growing denser and more oppressive with each step. The trees seemed to close in around her, their branches intertwining to form a natural barrier that made progress slow and treacherous. Emma navigated by the landmarks described in the Codex, her eyes scanning the underbrush for any sign of the ancient site. After what felt like hours, she finally reached the clearing where the stone circle stood. The air was thick with anticipation, the energy palpable as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Emma approached the stones, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and hope. She began to examine the carvings more closely, searching for any discrepancies or hidden symbols that might indicate a pathway to the Heartstone. Her fingers traced the intricate designs, her mind racing to decode their meanings. As she worked, she felt a presence around her, the whispers returning, but now calmer, more directive. Emma paused, noticing a subtle indentation at the base of one of the stones. She pressed her hand against it, feeling the coolness of the stone beneath her palm. With a slight push, a section of the ground shifted, revealing a narrow staircase that descended into darkness. Emma hesitated for a moment, the weight of her decision pressing down on her, but her determination outweighed her fear. Grabbing her flashlight, Emma descended the staircase, the air growing colder and more stagnant as she moved deeper into the earth. The walls were lined with ancient symbols, their meanings still elusive but their power undeniable. The whispers grew louder, guiding her steps as she navigated the winding passageway. After what felt like an eternity, Emma emerged into a vast underground chamber. The room was dominated by a large pedestal at its center, upon which rested a gleaming stone pulsating with an inner light, the Heartstone. The artifact radiated power, its surface swirling with colors that seemed to shift and change with every glance. Emma approached the pedestal cautiously, the whispers now a harmonious chorus that filled her mind with clarity. She reached out to touch the Heartstone, feeling its energy surge through her, a connection forming between her and the artifact. Memories flooded her consciousness, visions of the forest in its prime, rituals performed by the cult, and the moment when the Heartstone's power had been corrupted. As she held the Heartstone, Emma felt a surge of determination. She knew what she had to do, to purify the artifact and restore balance to the forest. But the task was not without its challenges. The Heartstone was protected by powerful enchantments, designed to ward off those who sought to tamper with its power. Drawing upon her knowledge from the Codex and the journal, Emma began to chant the incantations, her voice steady, despite the fear that gnawed at her. The symbols on the walls glowed in response, their light intertwining with that of the Heartstone. The chamber seemed to come alive, the energy intensifying as the ritual progressed. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with a blinding light, and Emma felt herself being pulled into a vortex of energy and memories. She saw visions of the forest's past, its beauty and tranquility, the arrival of the cult, and the ensuing chaos that had ensued when the Heartstone's power was misused. She witnessed the final, failed ritual that had bound the forest's dark forces to Whispering Pines, setting the stage for the tragedies that followed. Amidst the chaos, Emma sensed a presence, a guardian of the Heartstone, a spirit bound to protect the artifact from those who would misuse its power. The spirit appeared before her, a translucent figure emanating a calming light. "Why do you seek the Heartstone?" the spirit asked, its voice echoing through the chamber. Emma met the spirit's gaze, her voice unwavering. "To cleanse the forest of its darkness, to end the cycle of tragedy that has plagued Whispering Pines for generations." The spirit studied her for a moment, sensing the sincerity and determination in her words. "The Heartstone is a source of immense power, but it requires a pure heart and unwavering resolve to purify it. Are you prepared to make the necessary sacrifices?" Emma nodded without hesitation. "I am." The spirit extended its hand, and Emma placed her own over it, feeling a surge of energy flow between them. The chamber filled with a radiant light as the purification ritual began, the Heartstone glowing brighter with each passing moment. The symbols on the walls responded, their light converging with that of the Heartstone, creating a harmonious resonance that filled the chamber with a sense of peace and balance. As the ritual reached its climax, the dark energy that had corrupted the Heartstone began to dissipate, replaced by a purifying light that spread throughout the chamber and into the forest above. Emma felt the weight of the darkness lifting, the oppressive presence that had haunted Whispering Pines finally beginning to recede. With a final surge of energy, the purification was complete. The Heartstone no longer pulsed with dark energy, but instead radiated a serene, calming light. The chamber was filled with a profound sense of peace, the whispers now a gentle murmur that echoed through Emma's mind. The spirit smiled, a gesture of gratitude and approval. "You have done well, Emma Hartley. The forest is free from its dark legacy, and Whispering Pines can finally begin to heal." Emma felt a sense of accomplishment and relief wash over her, the years of fear and uncertainty finally coming to an end. She had succeeded in her mission, freeing the town from the shadows that had plagued it for so long. As she made her way back to the surface, the forest seemed to transform around her. The once menacing trees now stood tall and welcoming, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. The air was filled with the sounds of life, birdsong replacing the haunting whispers that had once dominated the night. Returning to her cabin, Emma felt a profound sense of closure. The supernatural occurrences that had once terrorized her were now a distant memory, the forest a place of beauty and tranquility once more. The townspeople of Whispering Pines began to notice the change as well, their lives no longer overshadowed by fear and superstition. In the weeks that followed, Emma became an integral part of the community, her courage and determination earning her the respect and admiration of her neighbors. She continued to live in the cabin, now a symbol of resilience and hope, her bond with the forest deepened by the trials she had endured. But even as peace settled over Whispering Pines, Emma couldn't entirely shake the feeling that the forest held more secrets, more stories waiting to be uncovered. She knew that the bond she had formed with the Heartstone and the forest was not one that could be easily forgotten, and that her journey had left an indelible mark on both herself and the town. One evening, as she sat on her porch watching the sun set behind the trees, Emma reflected on the events that had transpired. The loss of her husband had driven her to seek solace in this secluded town, but what she found instead was a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. The horrors she had faced had tested her to her very core, but they had also revealed a strength and resilience she never knew she possessed. As darkness fell and the first stars appeared in the night sky, Emma felt a sense of contentment settle over her. Whispering Pines was no longer a place of fear, but one of healing and new beginnings. The forest, once a symbol of malevolent power, now stood as a testament to the enduring spirit of those who called it home. Yet as she gazed into the darkness, a faint whisper carried on the breeze reached her ears, a subtle reminder that the forest's mysteries were far from fully unraveled. She smiled softly, acknowledging the whispers as a part of the forest's enduring presence, a promise that the story of Whispering Pines would continue, its pages forever intertwined with her own. Chapter 4. Echoes of the Past. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows across Whispering Pines. Emma Hartley stood on her porch, gazing into the encroaching darkness of the forest that now seemed less menacing but no less mysterious. The tranquility of the evening belied the turmoil that churned within her mind, a restless storm fueled by the secrets she was determined to uncover. Inside the cabin, the flickering light of a single lamp illuminated her cluttered workspace. Stacks of books, journals, and old photographs were strewn across the wooden table, each piece a fragment of the puzzle she was desperately trying to solve. The Codex Noctis lay open before her, its ancient pages filled with cryptic symbols and fragmented narratives that hinted at a deeper, more sinister history of Whispering Pines. Emma rubbed her tired eyes, the strain of sleepless nights and relentless research evident in her weary expression. The room seemed to close in around her, the walls whispering secrets she couldn't quite decipher. She reached for her notebook, flipping through pages filled with meticulous notes and hastily scribbled translations. Her mind raced, connecting dots and forming theories that teetered on the brink of reason and madness. A sudden chill swept through the cabin, causing the flames in the lamp to flicker violently. Emma shivered, pulling her shawl tighter around her shoulders. The temperature drop was unnaturally cold, a stark contrast to the warm amber glow of the lamp. She glanced toward the window, her heart skipping a beat as she caught sight of a shadow moving swiftly between the trees. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice wavering between fear and curiosity. The only response was the haunting rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Emma's pulse quickened, the sensation of being watched gnawing at her sanity. She forced herself to focus, reminding herself that she was alone, or so she hoped. Determined to maintain her composure, Emma returned her attention to the Codex. A particular passage caught her eye, its words resonating with a sense of foreboding that sent shivers down her spine. The text spoke of echoes of the past, a ritualistic invocation meant to bind spirits to the mortal realm. The symbols surrounding the passage mirrored those she had encountered in the stone circle and the Heartstone chamber. Her fingers traced the intricate designs, her mind grappling with the implications. Could the rituals performed by the cult have inadvertently summoned these lingering spirits? And if so, what was their purpose now that the Heartstone had been purified? Emma's thoughts were interrupted by a faint tapping sound, rhythmic and insistent, emanating from the window behind her. She spun around, eyes wide with apprehension, only to find the window closed and unblemished. The sound had ceased, leaving behind a heavy silence that pressed against her eardrums. Emma exhaled slowly, her breath visible in the sudden drop in temperature. She forced herself to breathe deeply, seeking to calm the rising panic that threatened to consume her. Gathering her courage, Emma decided to investigate the source of the disturbance. She grabbed a flashlight and cautiously approached the window, the beam of light cutting through the encroaching darkness. Peering outside, she scanned the surrounding trees, her heart pounding in her chest. There was nothing but the dense foliage and the thickening night. As she turned back to the table, her eyes caught sight of an old photograph she had overlooked earlier. It depicted the town of Whispering Pines decades ago, vibrant and bustling, with the forest standing tall in the background. What struck her most was the figure standing beside the Heartstone pedestal, an elderly man with piercing eyes that seemed to follow her, even from the confines of the photograph. Emma reached out, her fingers brushing against the photograph's edge. A surge of recognition washed over her, though she couldn't place the man's face. Her mind raced, searching through the annals of her research for any mention of the mysterious figure, but the name never surfaced, leaving her with more questions than answers. A sudden gust of wind rattled the windows, causing the photograph to flutter violently. Emma hastily placed it back among the other documents, her hands trembling. The room seemed to grow colder, the shadows lengthening and deepening around her. She felt a presence, an intangible force pressing in on her from all sides, whispering secrets she couldn't comprehend. Determined not to succumb to fear, Emma turned her attention back to the Codex, her resolve hardening. She began to cross-reference the symbols with those in the journal and the photographs, searching for any link that could explain the lingering disturbances. Hours slipped by in a haze of concentration, the outside world fading away as she delved deeper into the mysteries that bound Whispering Pines. A sudden flash of insight struck her, a connection that had eluded her for days. The symbols were not merely part of the ritualistic language, but also served as a map, guiding those who could decipher them to the heart of the forest's true power. Emma realized that the Heartstone was only the beginning, a focal point for the dark energy that had seeped into the town's very foundation. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps outside the cabin. Emma's heart leapt into her throat as she strained to listen, but the footsteps ceased as abruptly as they had begun. She stood frozen, the flashlight clutched tightly in her hand, her breath shallow and rapid. Summoning every ounce of courage, she approached the window once more, the beam of light sweeping the exterior grounds. There was no sign of movement, only the stillness of the night. Emma let out a shaky breath, attempting to steady her nerves. The encounter had left her more unsettled than ever, the sense of being watched intensifying her paranoia. She knew she couldn't ignore the signs any longer. The forest was alive with more than just shadows and whispers. It was a presence, a sentient force that demanded acknowledgement. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma decided to seek out the oldest resident of Whispering Pines, Mrs. Evelyn Marsh. Known for her extensive knowledge of the town's history and folklore, Mrs. Marsh was the living repository of stories that had been passed down through generations. If anyone could shed light on the enigmatic symbols and the lingering spirits, it was her. The following morning, Emma set out for Mrs. Marsh's residence, a quaint cottage nestled at the far end of town. The sun was high, casting a warm glow over the landscape, but Emma felt a chill that nothing could dispel. She navigated the narrow streets, the townspeople giving her curious glances as she made her way toward the elder's home. Upon arrival, Emma was greeted by a tall, stooped woman with silver hair and a presence that commanded respect. Mrs. Marsh welcomed her with a warm smile, her eyes twinkling with wisdom and a hint of mischief. "Emma, dear, it's lovely to see you again. What brings you to my humble abode today?" Emma wasted no time. "Mrs. Marsh, I need your help. I've been researching the history of Whispering Pines, and I keep encountering these symbols and references to ancient rituals. There's something more to this town's past, something dark and unresolved. Can you tell me more about it?" Mrs. Marsh's expression grew serious, her eyes reflecting a deep-seated sorrow. "Ah, you've been delving into the heart of Whispering Pines, haven't you? The town holds many secrets, some best left buried. But if you're determined to uncover them, I'll share what I know." They sat together in the cozy living room, Mrs. Marsh pouring tea into delicate porcelain cups. The scent of herbs and spices filled the air, creating an atmosphere of comfort despite the gravity of their conversation. Whispering Pines was founded over 2 centuries ago, largely thanks to a group of settlers who sought refuge from the turmoil of the outside world, Mrs. Marsh began, her voice soft but steady. Among them was a man named Jonathan Blackwood, a figure shrouded in mystery. He was deeply interested in the occult, in the powers that lay beyond our understanding. It's said that he discovered an ancient text, something like the Codex Noctis, that spoke of harnessing the forest's natural energy for protection and prosperity. Emma listened intently, her mind racing with the implications. So, was he the one who performed the rituals in the stone circle? Mrs. Marsh nodded slowly. Yes, Jonathan and his followers believed they could control the forest's power, binding it to their will. They performed numerous rituals, many of which involved the Heartstone, a powerful artifact believed to be the source of the forest's energy. Initially, their efforts seemed successful, bringing prosperity to the town, but something went terribly wrong. Emma leaned forward, her eyes locked on Mrs. Marsh's. What happened? The power they sought to control was far beyond their comprehension, Mrs. Marsh explained, her voice tinged with sorrow. The Heartstone's energy is ancient and sentient, a force that seeks balance. The rituals disrupted that balance, awakening dark entities that had long been dormant. The forest itself began to fight back, unleashing curses and calamities upon the town. People disappeared, strange occurrences became commonplace, and fear took root in the hearts of the residents. Emma's heart ached at the weight of the history unfolding before her. Is that why the rituals failed? Because the Heartstone's power was too great? Precisely, Mrs. Marsh confirmed. The Heartstone was never meant to be controlled. It was a guardian of the forest's equilibrium, not a tool for human manipulation. The rituals tore at the very fabric of the natural order, binding spirits and entities that should have remained in their realm. The town has been living under its shadow ever since, the whispers and shadows, a constant reminder of that fateful night. Emma took a deep breath, the enormity of her mission pressing down on her. I need to find a way to restore that balance, to end the cycle of tragedy that has plagued Whispering Pines. Mrs. Marsh reached out, placing a comforting hand on Emma's shoulder. It's a noble endeavor, but beware. The forest is cunning and its forces are not easily appeased. You'll need more than just knowledge. You'll need courage and resilience to face what lies ahead. Determined, Emma nodded. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. Mrs. Marsh smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. Very well. There's one more thing you should know. There are others in town who have sensed the disturbances, who have their own theories and experiences. It might be beneficial to connect with them, to pool your knowledge and resources. Emma felt a surge of hope. Thank you, Mrs. Marsh. Your guidance means more than I can express. As she left the cottage, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit together, but the image was still incomplete. She knew that to truly understand and confront the darkness that haunted Whispering Pines, she would need to seek out the voices of those who had lived through the tragedies, to listen to their stories and uncover the hidden truths that lay beneath the surface. Returning to her cabin, Emma felt the weight of responsibility settle upon her shoulders. She sat down at the table, the Codex Noctis open before her, and began to formulate a plan. The journey ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she was no longer alone in her quest. With the wisdom of Mrs. Marsh and the support of the townspeople, Emma felt a flicker of hope amidst the lingering shadows. As night fell once more, the forest outside seemed to breathe with a life of its own, the whispers now a distant murmur rather than an overwhelming cacophony. Emma looked out the window, the stars twinkling like distant eyes watching her every move. She knew that the path she had chosen would test her in ways she couldn't yet imagine, but she was resolute in her mission to bring peace to Whispering Pines. With a deep breath, Emma began to outline her next steps, the flickering lamp casting long shadows that danced along the walls, echoes of the past intertwined with the promise of a future free from the darkness that had long plagued the town. Chapter 5. Into the Forest. The morning sun filtered through the curtains of Emma Hartley's cabin, casting a warm glow that contrasted sharply with the chilling memories of the previous night's events. Determined to uncover the deeper mysteries of Whispering Pines, Emma knew that her next step lay within the heart of the forest itself. The Codex Noctis had provided a crucial clue. The Heartstone was not merely an artifact, but the linchpin of the forest's ancient power. To fully understand and ultimately cleanse the darkness that plagued the town, she needed to delve deeper into the very source of its power. Emma packed her bag meticulously, ensuring she had everything she might need for the journey ahead. She took the Codex Noctis, the worn journal, her flashlight, a sturdy rope, a first aid kit, and a bottle of water. The weight of her mission pressed heavily upon her shoulders, but she felt a surge of determination that overshadowed her lingering fears. With a final glance around her cabin, she stepped outside, the morning air crisp and invigorating. The forest stood before her, a vast expanse of towering pines and thick underbrush that seemed to pulse with life. The path ahead was overgrown, the once clear trail now obscured by fallen leaves and tangled vines. Emma took a deep breath, her senses heightened as she prepared to navigate the dense wilderness. The whispers that had haunted her nights were now a distant memory, replaced by the rhythmic sounds of nature waking to a new day. As she ventured deeper into the forest, the sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy overhead, casting the forest floor into dappled shadows. The air was heavy with the scent of pine and earth, a stark reminder of the forest's enduring presence. Emma moved with purpose, her flashlight swinging from her hand to illuminate the path ahead, despite the increasing daylight. The Codex Noctis had mentioned specific landmarks and natural barriers that she hoped would guide her toward the Heartstone. After several hours of hiking, Emma reached a clearing that matched the descriptions in the Codex. The ground was uneven, covered in a thick layer of moss that muffled her footsteps. At the center stood a large ancient oak tree, its gnarled branches stretching skyward like skeletal fingers. Surrounding the tree were stone markers, each etched with the same symbols that adorned the Heartstone pedestal and the stone circle she had previously encountered. The significance of this location was unmistakable. It was another site of powerful ritualistic energy. Emma approached the oak tree cautiously, her eyes scanning the area for any signs of danger or hidden pathways. The symbols on the stones seemed to shimmer faintly in the dappled light, their meanings still elusive but their power palpable. She reached out to touch one of the markers, her fingers tracing the intricate carvings with reverence and awe. The symbols resonated with a deep, ancient energy that seemed to vibrate through her very being, connecting her to the forest in a way she had never experienced before. As she stood before the oak tree, a sudden rustling of leaves caught her attention. Emma spun around, flashlight beam darting through the trees, but saw nothing beyond the dense foliage. Her heart pounded in her chest, the adrenaline from the journey mingling with the residual fear that still lingered. She took a moment to steady her breathing, reminding herself of the importance of her mission. The forest was a living entity, its secrets intertwined with the very essence of Whispering Pines, and she was determined to unravel them. Emma consulted the codex once more, cross-referencing the landmarks and symbols she had encountered so far. According to the ancient text, the Heartstone was not a static artifact, but a dynamic source of energy that interacted with its surroundings. To truly cleanse the forest, she needed to understand the flow of this energy and how it had been disrupted by the cult's rituals. The codex hinted at a series of interconnected sites, each playing a role in the balance and harmony of the forest's power. With this knowledge, Emma began to explore the clearing more thoroughly. She discovered a hidden compartment beneath the oak tree, concealed by layers of moss and debris. Using her flashlight, she carefully unearthed a small, weathered box that had been buried for decades. The box was adorned with the same symbols, a clear indication of its significance. Emma opened it to find a collection of old artifacts, a tarnished amulet, a faded map, and a bundle of brittle papers containing additional notes and sketches. The amulet caught her eye immediately. It was a delicate piece, fashioned from silver and etched with intricate patterns that mirrored the symbols in the codex. Emma picked it up, feeling a surge of energy course through her fingertips. The amulet seemed to hum with a life of its own, the symbols glowing faintly as if responding to her touch. She carefully placed it around her neck, the weight of the artifact settling comfortably against her chest. The map was the next item Emma examined. It was a hand-drawn depiction of Whispering Pines and the surrounding forest, marked with various symbols and annotations that hinted at the locations of other significant sites. Emma traced the lines with her finger, recognizing landmarks she had already visited and identifying new areas she had yet to explore. The notes on the map provided additional context, describing rituals and ceremonies that had been performed to harness the forest's power. The brittle papers were filled with sketches and fragmented sentences, likely the work of the cultists who had once inhabited the area. One sketch depicted a circle of stones surrounding a central altar, much like the stone circle and the Heartstone chamber Emma had encountered. Another showed detailed drawings of the symbols, suggesting they were part of a larger, more complex language used in their rituals. The final note was a warning, scrawled hastily in ink. Respect the balance. Disturb not the natural order. Emma carefully folded the papers, recognizing their importance and the insights they provided into the cult's motivations and methods. The artifacts in the box were invaluable, offering tangible connections to the past and shedding light on the rituals that had caused the forest's dark legacy. With renewed determination, Emma knew that her journey was far from over. She had uncovered critical pieces of the puzzle, but much remained to be discovered. As she prepared to leave the clearing, Emma felt a strange sense of being watched. The forest, sensing her intrusion, seemed to come alive around her. The trees rustled in a way that suggested movement, and shadows danced at the periphery of her vision. She quickened her pace, eager to reach the safety of her cabin, but the path ahead was fraught with obstacles. The underbrush thickened, making progress slow and treacherous. Emma stumbled over roots and tangled vines, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness like a beacon of hope. The symbols on the stones had guided her thus far, but now she had to rely on her instincts and the knowledge she had gained from the codex and the artifacts. Every step forward felt like a step deeper into the unknown, the forest testing her resolve at every turn. Hours passed as Emma navigated the dense forest, the setting sun casting long shadows that seemed to reach out and grasp at her. The sounds of nocturnal creatures began to emerge, the calls of owls and the rustling of small animals adding to the symphony of the night. Yet, amidst the natural sounds, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something else was present. presence that watched her, guided her, and perhaps sought to impede her progress. As night fully descended, Emma found herself at the edge of another clearing, one that bore a striking resemblance to the first but on a much grander scale. Here stood a series of stone pillars arranged in a precise formation, each one inscribed with the same symbols that had guided her journey. In the center of the formation lay a shallow pool of water, its surface still and reflective, mirroring the star-studded sky above. Emma approached the pool cautiously, her reflection wavering in the gentle ripples that occasionally disturbed the surface. She knelt by the water's edge, gazing into its depths. The pool seemed to hold more than just water. It was a portal, a conduit through which the forest's energy flowed. According to the Codex, this site was a focal point for the rituals, a place where the Heartstone's power was both harnessed and contained. As Emma examined the pool, she noticed something unusual, a series of small, glowing orbs suspended just above the water's surface. The orbs moved in a deliberate pattern, swirling around the pool in a mesmerizing dance. Intrigued, Emma reached out, her hand trembling as she attempted to touch one of the orbs. The moment her fingers made contact, a surge of energy coursed through her, the symbols around her glowing brighter in response. Visions flashed before her eyes, images of the forest in its natural state, vibrant and harmonious, teeming with life and energy. She saw the arrival of Jonathan Blackwood and his followers, their initial intentions seemingly noble, but quickly corrupted by their obsession with harnessing the forest's power. The rituals they performed were meant to protect the town, to create a symbiotic relationship with the forest, but instead, they disrupted the delicate balance that had been maintained for centuries. Emma saw the Heartstone, glowing with an inner light, and the moment when the cult's final ritual went awry. Dark shadows enveloped the Heartstone, twisting and warping its energy, binding the spirits of the forest to the mortal realm. The consequences were immediate and devastating. People vanished, curses were unleashed, and the forest became a place of fear and mystery. As the visions faded, Emma felt a deep sense of sorrow and responsibility. She realized that the forest's corruption was not just a result of the cult's actions, but also a manifestation of their inability to respect the natural order. The Heartstone, once a symbol of protection, had become a beacon of darkness, attracting malevolent forces that sought to reclaim their power. Determined to rectify the past mistakes, Emma knew that she needed to perform a counter-ritual, one that would restore the Heartstone's purity and re-establish the balance between the forest and the town. The Codex Noctis provided the necessary incantations, but Emma understood that she couldn't perform the ritual alone. She needed the support and collaboration of the townspeople, those who had been unknowingly bound to the forest's dark legacy. As she stood by the pool, contemplating her next move, Emma heard footsteps approaching from behind. She turned to see Mrs. Evelyn Marsh standing there, her presence calm yet commanding. "I see you found one of the sacred sites," Mrs. Marsh said softly, her eyes reflecting a mix of concern and understanding. Emma nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and apprehension. "I think I have a better understanding of what needs to be done, but I can't do it alone. I need your help, Mrs. Marshy, and I need the help of others in town who are willing to stand with me." Mrs. Marsh approached and placed a reassuring hand on Emma's shoulder. "You're not alone in this, Emma. The town has been waiting for someone brave enough to confront the darkness that has plagued us for so long. We'll gather those who are willing to help, and together we'll restore the balance that was lost." With Mrs. Marsh's support, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. They left the clearing together, the path illuminated by the soft glow of the orbs that continued to dance above the pool. The journey back to town was filled with a sense of urgency, the need to mobilize the community and prepare for the challenges that lay ahead. Back in Whispering Pines, Emma and Mrs. Marsh began to reach out to key residents, those who had experienced strange occurrences, those who held pieces of the town's history, and those who possessed knowledge that could aid in the ritual. Among them was Tom, the general store owner, whose pragmatic nature and resourcefulness made him an invaluable ally. Clara, the librarian, brought her extensive knowledge of local folklore and ancient texts, while Mr. Blackwood, despite his enigmatic demeanor, offered insights into the forest's behavior and the cult's methodologies. Assembling in the community center, the group discussed their plan. Emma shared her discoveries, presenting the Codex Noctis, the journal, and the artifacts she had found. The room was filled with a mix of skepticism and hope, the townspeople grappling with the reality of the supernatural forces at play. However, the shared experiences and Emma's unwavering determination began to unify the group, fostering a collective resolve to confront the darkness that had long haunted their town. Over the following weeks, the preparations for the counter-ritual took shape. The townspeople worked together, gathering necessary materials, studying the codex, and practicing the incantations. Emma took on the role of leader, her knowledge and bravery inspiring those around her to push past their fears and contribute to the mission. The sense of community that had been eroded by fear and superstition began to rebuild, strengthened by their shared goal of restoring peace to Whispering Pines. As the day of the ritual approached, the atmosphere in the town shifted. A palpable tension hung in the air, the anticipation of what was to come mingling with the hope of salvation. Emma felt the weight of responsibility settle upon her shoulders, but she also felt a deep sense of connection to the forest and the spirits that dwelled within. She understood that the ritual was not merely a physical act, but a spiritual endeavor that required harmony and respect for the natural order. On the eve of the ritual, the townspeople gathered at the stone circle, now fully prepared for the ceremony. The symbols had been cleansed and enhanced with protective enchantments, their power harnessed to channel the forest's energy in a controlled manner. Emma stood at the center, the heartstone glimmering with a purified light, a testament to her previous success and the steps she had taken to mend the broken bond between the forest and the town. The night was still, the only sounds the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant call of nocturnal creatures. As Emma began the incantation, her voice steady and resolute, the symbols around her responded, their glow intensifying as the ritual progressed. The collective energy of the townspeople flowed through her, their unity a source of strength against the lingering darkness. Suddenly the forest seemed to come alive, the trees swaying in a harmonious dance, their branches forming intricate patterns that mirrored the symbols on the ground. A surge of energy pulsed through the clearing, the heartstone at the center radiating a pure, cleansing light that spread outward, enveloping the entire area in a warm, ethereal glow. The whispers that had once haunted the town now transformed into a soothing melody, the voices of the forest spirits expressing their gratitude and acceptance. The oppressive darkness that had long overshadowed Whispering Pines dissipated, replaced by a sense of peace and balance that permeated the very air. Emma felt a profound connection to the forest, her spirit intertwined with its essence. As the ritual reached its zenith, the heartstone glowed brighter than ever, its light a beacon of hope and renewal. The spirits of the forest, once bound by darkness, were now free to return to their natural state, their presence no longer a source of fear, but a reminder of the harmony that had been restored. As the ritual concluded, the forest stood serene and tranquil, the malevolent forces that had once threatened the town, now quelled by the collective will and courage of its residents. Emma looked around at the faces of the townspeople, their expressions a mix of relief, joy, and awe. They had faced the darkness together and emerged victorious, their unity and determination a testament to the enduring spirit of Whispering Pines. In the aftermath of the ritual, the town began to heal, the scars of the past slowly fading as the community rebuilt and moved forward. The forest, once a place of fear and mystery, became a symbol of resilience and renewal, its beauty undiminished by the shadows that had once plagued it. Emma found solace in the knowledge that she had played a pivotal role in restoring peace to Whispering Pines, her journey of discovery and confrontation a catalyst for the town's rebirth. However, as the seasons changed and time passed, Emma couldn't entirely shake the feeling that the forest still held more secrets. The whispers, though now gentle and harmonious, hinted at stories yet to be told and mysteries yet to be uncovered. She knew that her bond with Whispering Pines was far from complete, that her role as its guardian and protector was an ongoing journey that required vigilance and dedication. One evening, as the sun set and the forest was bathed in the golden hues of twilight, Emma stood on her porch, gazing into the tranquil expanse of trees. The stars began to twinkle in the night sky, their light a reflection of the countless possibilities that lay ahead. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had not only found peace for herself, but had also helped to restore balance and harmony to a town that had long been overshadowed by darkness. But amidst the serenity, a subtle shift in the air caught her attention. A gentle breeze carrying the faintest of whispers, a reminder that the forest's stories were ever evolving. Emma smiled softly, acknowledging the enduring presence of the forest and the bond they shared. She understood that Whispering Pines was not just a place, but a living entity, its essence intertwined with her own journey of healing and discovery. As she watched the stars emerge and the night unfold, Emma felt a sense of anticipation for the future. The forest, once a source of fear, now offered endless opportunities for exploration and connection. She knew that her path was forever linked with the mysteries of Whispering Pines, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of unity in the face of darkness. With a final glance into the night, Emma turned back to her cabin, the warm light from within a symbol of the peace they had achieved. She was no longer the solitary widow seeking solace. She had become a beacon of hope and strength for the community, her actions ensuring that Whispering Pines would forever stand as a testament to the triumph over fear and the restoration of balance between humanity and nature. Chapter 6. Unveiling Secrets. The dawn broke over Whispering Pines, with an unexpected stillness, the morning air crisp and clear after the tumultuous events of the previous night. Emma Hartley stood on her porch, watching as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the dense canopy, illuminating the forest in a golden hue. The ritual had been a success, or so it seemed. The oppressive darkness that had long haunted the town had lifted, replaced by a newfound sense of peace and balance. Yet beneath the surface, Emma felt an unsettling undercurrent, a whisper of secrets yet to be uncovered. Inside the cabin, the remnants of the ritual lay scattered across the table, burned-out candles, scattered herbs, and the now dull hearthstone. Emma sat down, exhaustion etched into every line of her face, but her mind remained restless. The Codex Noctis and the journal lay open before her, their pages filled with annotations and symbols that hinted at deeper mysteries. She knew that the purification of the Hearthstone was only the beginning, a step toward unraveling the tangled web of Whispering Pines' dark history. As she sifted through her notes, a faint tapping sound echoed from the attic above. Her heart skipped a beat, memories of the forest's malevolent presence flooding her thoughts. She had hoped that the ritual had quelled the forest's wrath, but the persistent tapping suggested otherwise. Gathering her courage, Emma decided to investigate, aware that each revelation brought her closer to understanding the true nature of the darkness that had plagued the town. Climbing the creaky wooden stairs, Emma felt a chill run down her spine. The attic was cluttered with old furniture, forgotten belongings, and boxes of memories long sealed away. The tapping grew louder, more insistent, emanating from a large trunk in the corner. She approached it cautiously, her flashlight illuminating the intricate carvings that adorned its surface, symbols identical to those she had encountered in the Codex and the Hearthstone chamber. With trembling hands, Emma reached for the latch, pulling it open to reveal a collection of old photographs, letters, and a faded diary. Among the items was a portrait of a woman with piercing blue eyes, her gaze eerily familiar. Emma's mind raced as she recognized the woman from the photograph she had found earlier in the town library. The realization sent a shiver through her, connecting the dots between the past and the present. Sitting down amidst the relics, Emma began to leaf through the diary, its pages yellowed and brittle. The handwriting was elegant yet hurried, detailing the life of Eleanor Whitaker, a prominent figure in Whispering Pines' early history. Eleanor had been a close friend of Jonathan Blackwood, the cult leader whose rituals had set the town on its dark path. The diary entries revealed a deep-seated fear and desperation, hinting at conflicts and secrets that had driven Eleanor to the brink of madness. One entry stood out, written on a stormy night that mirrored the one Emma had recently faced. October 14th, 1924, the darkness grows restless. Blackwood insists that the Hearthstone must be harnessed to protect our town, but I fear the cost. The forest whispers to me in the dead of night, urging caution and restraint. I have seen visions, shadows that twist and contort, spirits that plead for mercy. If we continue down this path, I fear we will unleash forces beyond our control. I must find a way to stop Blackwood before it's too late. Emma's fingers traced the ink, the words resonating deeply within her. Eleanor's fears mirrored her own, the warning of the forest's untamed power striking a chord. But what had happened to Eleanor? The diary's abrupt end suggested a tragic conclusion, one that Emma was determined to uncover. As she delved deeper into the diary, Emma discovered references to a hidden chamber beneath the town's church, a place where Eleanor and Blackwood had conducted their most secretive rituals. The chamber was said to house ancient relics and forbidden texts, knowledge that could either save or doom Whispering Pines. Emma realized that to fully understand the forest's darkness, she needed to explore this hidden chamber and uncover the truths buried beneath layers of time and secrecy. Leaving the attic with the diary clutched tightly in her hand, Emma made her way to the town church. The building stood majestically at the heart of Whispering Pines, its stained glass windows reflecting vibrant colors that danced across the stone facade. The church had always been a place of solace and community, but Emma sensed an underlying tension, a residue of the town's tumultuous past. Inside, the church was silent, the pews arranged neatly as if awaiting a congregation that never arrived. Emma approached the altar, her eyes scanning the intricate carvings that adorned it, symbols identical to those she had seen before. The Codex Noctis had mentioned the church as a pivotal location, but Emma had never fully explored its depths. Determined, she began to search for any signs of the hidden chamber. Hours passed as Emma meticulously examined every nook and cranny, her flashlight piercing the darkness. Just as frustration began to set in, she noticed a small, almost imperceptible indentation in the stone beneath the altar. Heart pounding, she pressed her hand against it, feeling the coolness of the stone beneath her palm. To her astonishment, the stone shifted slightly, revealing a narrow passageway concealed behind the altar. Taking a deep breath, Emma summoned her courage and descended the stairs into the hidden chamber. The air grew colder, the scent of damp earth and aged parchment filling her nostrils. The chamber was vast, lined with shelves that held ancient tomes, relics, and artifacts that spoke of forgotten rituals and lost knowledge. At the center stood a large stone table, upon which lay an open book, the most detailed version of the Codex Noctis she had ever seen. As Emma approached the table, she noticed symbols etched into the stone, forming a complex language that seemed to pulse with energy. The book contained detailed descriptions of rituals designed to harness and balance the forest's power, but it also warned of dire consequences if the balance was disturbed. Eleanor's notes filled the margins, her handwriting frantic and urgent, providing insights and warnings that had been lost to time. One entry stood out, written in a hurried scrawl, November 3rd, 1924. Blackwood's obsession grows. He believes the rituals will grant us control, but I see the truth. These rituals bind us to the forest's will, not the other way around. The Heartstone is the key, but without understanding its true nature, we are doomed. I fear what will become of us if we continue. I must find a way to free ourselves and restore the balance before it's too late. Emma's mind raced as she connected the dots. Eleanor had realized the true nature of the Heartstone and the catastrophic consequences of their actions. But what had become of her? The diary's abrupt end hinted at a tragic fate, perhaps one intertwined with the very darkness she sought to overcome. As Emma absorbed the weight of Eleanor's revelations, a sudden chill swept through the chamber. The symbols on the stone table began to glow faintly, their light intensifying as if reacting to her presence. The whispers that had haunted her nights returned, now emanating from the walls and echoing through the chamber. Uncover the truth. Release. Emma's breath caught in her throat as the whispers swirled around her, their fragmented messages hinting at deeper layers of the forest's secrets. She realized that the purification of the Heartstone was only a partial victory, a temporary reprieve from the forest's relentless pursuit of balance. To truly cleanse Whispering Pines, she needed to delve deeper, uncovering every hidden truth and confronting the shadows that lurked in every corner. Determined, Emma began to translate the symbols on the stone table, her fingers moving deftly over the intricate carvings. The Codex Noctis provided a key, a way to decipher the ancient language, but the process was arduous and time-consuming. Hours turned into days as Emma immersed herself in the task, the chamber becoming her sanctuary and her prison. a place where the boundaries between reality and the supernatural blurred. As she worked, Emma felt her connection to the forest deepen, the energy flowing through her becoming a conduit for the ritualistic knowledge contained within the Codex. The whispers, once a source of fear, now served as guides, leading her toward the ultimate truth that lay at the heart of Whispering Pines' darkness. One night, as the moon hung high in the sky, casting a silvery glow through the chamber's windows, Emma made a breakthrough. She had deciphered a passage that spoke of an ancient pact, an agreement between the town's founders and the forest's original inhabitants. The pact was meant to ensure harmony and mutual respect, a balance that had been shattered by the cult's misguided attempts to control the Heartstone. The passage detailed a ritual of restoration, one that required not only the purification of the Heartstone, but also the healing of the broken ties between the town and the forest. It spoke of a guardian, a spirit bound to protect the Heartstone and maintain the balance, and the necessity of invoking this guardian to restore harmony. Emma realized that the purification ritual she had performed was only the first step. To fully cleanse Whispering Pines, she needed to summon the guardian and negotiate a new pact, one that honored the forest's natural order and respected its ancient power. The Codex provided the incantations and the steps necessary to invoke the guardian, but the process was fraught with peril, requiring unwavering focus and immense courage. With renewed determination, Emma prepared for the next phase of her mission. She gathered the necessary materials outlined in the Codex, herbs, candles, and sacred symbols, and returned to the stone chamber. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, the symbols on the stone table glowing with an ethereal light that seemed to pulse with the forest's energy. As she began the incantation, Emma felt a surge of power course through her, the words flowing from her lips with a clarity that belied her inner turmoil. The chamber seemed to respond, the air growing heavy with energy as the ritual reached its climax. A blinding light enveloped the room, and the whispers intensified, transforming into a harmonious chorus that filled her mind with a sense of peace and purpose. From the center of the chamber emerged a luminous figure, the Guardian. The spirit radiated a calming presence, its form shifting between the ethereal and the tangible, embodying both the forest's strength and its serenity. Emma felt a deep sense of reverence as she faced the Guardian, the culmination of her journey intertwining with the forest's ancient legacy. Emma Hartley, the Guardian spoke, its voice resonating with wisdom and authority. You have sought to restore balance and honor the pact that was broken. What is your request? Emma took a deep breath, her voice steady despite the overwhelming presence before her. I seek to heal the wounds that have plagued Whispering Pines, to restore harmony between the town and the forest. I ask for your guidance and your blessing to perform the final ritual of restoration. The Guardian regarded her with a benevolent gaze, sensing the sincerity and determination within her. The path you have chosen is one of great responsibility and sacrifice. To restore balance, you must not only cleanse the Heartstone, but also mend the broken ties that bind our worlds. The final ritual will require the collective will of the town and a willingness to honor the natural order. Emma nodded, understanding the gravity of her request. I am prepared to do whatever it takes to bring peace to Whispering Pines. The Guardian extended its hand, and a surge of energy flowed through Emma, imbuing her with the power and knowledge necessary to complete the ritual. The symbols on the stone table began to glow brighter, their light converging into a radiant beam that enveloped Emma, connecting her to the forest's very essence. As the final words of the incantation left her lips, the chamber was filled with a blinding light, and Emma felt herself being lifted, her consciousness expanding beyond the physical realm. She saw visions of the past, of the town's founders making the ancient pact, of the forest's original inhabitants living in harmony with the settlers, and of the tragic downfall brought about by the cult's misguided attempts to control the Heartstone. In the midst of these visions, Emma saw Eleanor Whitaker, her friend and confidant, standing beside Jonathan Blackwood. Eleanor's eyes held a mix of sorrow and determination, her presence a guiding light amidst the darkness. Emma, Eleanor's voice echoed through the visions. You have the power to restore balance, to honor the pact that was broken. Trust in yourself and in the strength of the community. Together we can heal Whispering Pines. With these final words, the light receded, and Emma found herself back in the chamber, the Guardian standing beside her. The air was filled with a sense of peace and accomplishment, the whispers now a gentle murmur of gratitude and acceptance. The final ritual must be performed with the collective will of the town, the guardian explained. Gather the townspeople, and together you will restore the harmony that was lost. Remember, the key to success lies in unity and respect for the natural order. Emma nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose and resolve. She knew that the next steps would be challenging, requiring the cooperation and trust of the entire community. But she was ready to lead them, to guide Whispering Pines toward a future free from the shadows that had long plagued it. Returning to her cabin, Emma began to formulate a plan. She reached out to Mrs. Marsh, Tom, Clara, and Mr. Blackwood, explaining the significance of the ritual and the importance of their collective participation. The response was overwhelmingly positive, the townspeople inspired by Emma's courage and dedication to restoring their town's harmony. Over the following weeks, the preparations for the final ritual took shape. The townspeople worked together, gathering the necessary materials, studying the Codex Noctis, and practicing the incantations under Emma's guidance. The sense of community that had been fractured by fear and superstition began to rebuild, strengthened by their shared goal of healing Whispering Pines. As the day of the final ritual approached, the atmosphere in the town was filled with a mix of anticipation and hope. The forest, once a source of fear, now seemed to radiate a serene energy, the shadows softened by the collective efforts of the community. Emma felt a profound connection to the forest and its spirits, her bond with Whispering Pines deepening as the ritual drew near. On the eve of the ritual, the town gathered at the stone circle, now fully prepared to perform the final act of restoration. The symbols had been cleansed and enhanced with protective enchantments, their power harnessed to channel the forest's energy in a controlled and respectful manner. Emma stood at the center, the heartstone gleaming with a pure, radiant light, a symbol of the town's resilience and unity. As the ritual began, Emma led the incantation, her voice steady and resolute. The townspeople joined in, their collective voices creating a harmonious chorus that resonated through the clearing. The symbols on the stones glowed brightly, their light intertwining with that of the Heartstone, creating a powerful convergence of energy. The forest responded, the trees swaying in a gentle dance, their branches forming intricate patterns that mirrored the symbols on the ground. A surge of energy pulsed through the clearing, the Heartstone at the center radiating a pure, cleansing light that spread outward, enveloping the entire area in a warm, ethereal glow. The whispers that had once haunted the town now transformed into a soothing melody, the voices of the forest spirits expressing their gratitude and acceptance. The oppressive darkness that had long overshadowed Whispering Pines dissipated, replaced by a sense of peace and balance that permeated the very air. Emma felt a profound connection to the forest, her spirit intertwined with its essence as the ritual reached its zenith. The Heartstone glowed brighter than ever, its light a beacon of hope and renewal. The spirits of the forest, once bound by darkness, were now free to return to their natural state, their presence no longer a source of fear but a reminder of the harmony that had been restored. As the ritual concluded, the forest stood serene and tranquil, the malevolent forces that had once threatened the town now quelled by the collective will and courage of its residents. Emma looked around at the faces of the townspeople, their expressions a mix of relief, joy, and awe. They had faced the darkness together and emerged victorious, their unity and determination a testament to the enduring spirit of Whispering Pines. In the aftermath of the ritual, the town began to heal, the scars of the past slowly fading as the community rebuilt and moved forward. The forest, once a place of fear and mystery, became a symbol of resilience and renewal, its beauty undiminished by the shadows that had once plagued it. Emma found solace in the knowledge that she had played a pivotal role in restoring peace to Whispering Pines, her journey of discovery and confrontation a catalyst for the town's rebirth. However, as the seasons changed and time passed, Emma couldn't entirely shake the feeling that the forest still held more secrets. The whispers, though now gentle and harmonious, hinted at stories yet to be told and mysteries yet to be uncovered. She knew that her bond with Whispering Pines was far from complete, that her role as its guardian and protector was an ongoing journey that required vigilance and dedication. One evening, As the sun set and the forest was bathed in the golden hues of twilight, Emma stood on her porch, gazing into the tranquil expanse of trees. The stars began to twinkle in the night sky, their light a reflection of the countless possibilities that lay ahead. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had not only found peace for herself, but had also helped to restore balance and harmony to a town that had long been overshadowed by darkness. But amidst the serenity, a subtle shift in the air caught her attention. A gentle breeze carrying the faintest of whispers, a reminder that the forest's stories were ever evolving. Emma smiled softly, acknowledging the enduring presence of the forest and the bond they shared. She understood that Whispering Pines was not just a place but a living entity, its essence intertwined with her own journey of healing and discovery. As she watched the stars emerge and the night unfold, Emma felt a sense of anticipation for the future. The forest, once a source of fear, now offered endless opportunities for exploration and connection. She knew that her path was forever linked with the mysteries of Whispering Pines, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of unity in the face of darkness. With a deep breath, Emma began to outline her next steps, the flickering lamp casting long shadows that danced along the walls, echoes of the past intertwined with the promise of a future free from the darkness that had long plagued the town. Chapter 7. The haunting intensifies. The morning sun rose over Whispering Pines with an unusual brilliance, its rays piercing through the dense canopy and casting intricate patterns on the forest floor. Emma Hartley stood on her porch, the serenity of the aftermath still lingering in the air. The final ritual had brought a sense of peace, yet an inexplicable tension remained, a reminder that the forest's mysteries were far from fully unraveled. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere was calm. The hearthstone, now purified, rested peacefully on the mantel, its once menacing glow replaced by a soft, comforting light. Emma felt a profound sense of accomplishment, having led the town through one of its darkest chapters. Yet, as she settled into her morning routine, the unease began to creep back. Subtle at first, but growing more persistent with each passing day. The return of shadows. It began with the shadows. At first, they were mere flickers at the edge of her vision, disappearing whenever she turned to look. But soon, they became more pronounced, elongated forms that seemed to move with a life of their own, twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. Emma tried to dismiss them as tricks of the light or remnants of her lingering fears. But deep down, she knew something was amiss. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma sat by the window, the fading light casting long shadows across the room. She glanced up to see the silhouette of an old oak tree outside, its branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The shadows within the cabin began to shift, pooling in corners and stretching toward her like dark tendrils. Her heart raced as she felt a cold breeze sweep through the room, the temperature dropping several degrees in an instant. "Who's there?" Emma called out, her voice wavering between fear and defiance. The only response was the haunting rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. She reached for her flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness, illuminating nothing but empty space. Unexplained noises. The strange occurrences didn't stop with the shadows. Emma began hearing noises that defied explanation, whispers that echoed through the night, footsteps that seemed to follow her through the corridors of her cabin, and objects moving on their own. Books would fall off shelves, lights would flicker without cause, and doors would creak open and shut as if pushed by invisible hands. One particularly unsettling night, Emma awoke to the sound of chanting emanating from the forest. The rhythmic guttural sounds sent shivers down her spine, blending with the distant cries of nocturnal creatures. She tried to convince herself it was just the wind or the remnants of her overactive imagination, but the chanting grew louder, more distinct, as if coming closer. Unable to bear the unsettling noises any longer, Emma decided to investigate. Grabbing her flashlight and a notebook, she ventured outside into the cool night air, the forest looming before her like a dark, impenetrable barrier. The chanting was now unmistakable, echoing through the trees with a sense of urgency and malevolence. The midnight gathering, following the sound, Emma navigated through the thick underbrush, her flashlight beam darting back and forth in search of the source. The forest seemed to respond to her presence, the shadows growing darker and the trees appearing to close in around her. The chanting led her to a clearing she had never seen before, a place that seemed untouched by the passage of time. In the center of the clearing stood a circle of stone pillars, each one inscribed with the same symbols that had been central to the rituals she had performed. At the center of the circle, a group of hooded figures gathered, their chanting reaching a fever pitch. Emma watched from the shadows, her heart pounding in her chest as the realization dawned on her. She was witnessing the resurgence of the cult that had once cursed Whispering Pines. The figures moved in unison, their chants forming a complex incantation that reverberated through the clearing. The Heartstone, though purified, still held residual energy, and Emma suspected that the cult was attempting to harness it once more, seeking to control the forest's power for their own dark purposes. Confrontation with the cult. Emma's mind raced as she tried to formulate a plan. She knew she couldn't confront the cult directly. Their numbers and the power they wielded were too great. Instead, she needed to gather evidence and seek help from the townspeople, who might still hold the key to stopping the cult's renewed efforts. As she moved closer to the clearing, the chanting intensified, the energy in the air becoming almost tangible. The hooded figures seemed to sense her presence, their chants faltering for a brief moment before resuming with even greater intensity. Emma felt a surge of fear, but also a determination to protect her town from falling back into darkness. Suddenly, one of the figures turned toward her, removing their hood to reveal a familiar face. Jonathan Blackwood's descendant, a man named Marcus Blackwood. His eyes bore into hers with a mix of recognition and hostility, his presence commanding and ominous. "Emma Hartley," Marcus intoned, his voice carrying the weight of generations. "You cannot stop what has been set in motion. The Heartstone's power is too great to be contained." Emma took a step forward, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. "I won't let you destroy everything we've worked for. The forest deserves peace, not your twisted control." Marcus laughed, a cold and hollow sound that echoed through the clearing. "Peace? The forest thrives on balance, Emma. Your rituals disrupted that balance and now we must restore it. Join us and together we can harness the Heartstone's true potential." Emma shook her head, her resolve unshaken. "I won't join you. I'll do whatever it takes to stop you." Before Marcus could respond, the other cult members began to chant louder, their combined voices creating a powerful resonance that seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. Emma felt a surge of energy emanating from the Heartstone, its purified light now tainted by the cult's renewed efforts. The forest responded in kind, the trees bending and swaying as if alive, their branches reaching out like grasping hands, escaping the cult's grasp. Realizing that confrontation would only escalate the situation, Emma turned to flee, her heart pounding as she navigated the chaotic clearing. The cultists pursued her, their chants growing louder and more desperate as they sought to reclaim control over the Heartstone. The forest seemed to come alive, the shadows dancing menacingly as the malevolent energy intensified. Emma ran with all her might, the dense underbrush tearing at her clothes and skin. The path back to her cabin felt endless, the forest twisting and turning in ways that defied logic. Every step seemed to take her deeper into the heart of darkness, the whispers now a cacophony of voices urging her to give in to fear and despair. Just as exhaustion began to set in, Emma spotted a faint light through the trees, a beacon of hope in the oppressive darkness. She pushed herself harder, sprinting toward the light with renewed determination. As she burst through the final barrier of trees, she found herself back at her cabin, the door ajar and the interior shrouded in shadows. Breathing heavily, Emma slipped inside, slamming the door shut behind her. She leaned against the wood, her body trembling from the exertion and fear. The whispers had ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. She knew she wasn't safe yet, the cult would not give up easily, and the forest still held many secrets that she had yet to uncover. Seeking allies. Realizing that she couldn't face the cult alone, Emma knew she had to rally the townspeople. She grabbed her phone and called Mrs. Marsh, hoping to enlist her help in understanding the resurgence of the cult's activities. "Mrs. Marsh, it's Emma," she said urgently when the elderly woman answered. "We need to talk. It's urgent." Mrs. Marsh's voice was calm but filled with concern. "Of course, dear. I'll be there as soon as I can." Emma hung up and quickly contacted Clara, Tom, and Mr. Blackwood. explaining the situation and the need for immediate action. Though Mr. Blackwood had been enigmatic, his knowledge of the forest's behavior made him a valuable ally. Clara's extensive research on local folklore and Tom's resourcefulness would also prove crucial in their fight against the cult. As night fell once more, the town of Whispering Pines gathered at the community center, the air thick with anticipation and fear. Emma stood before the group, outlining the events of the previous night and the threat posed by the cult's renewed efforts to harness the Heartstone's power. "We can't let them succeed," Emma declared, her voice strong and unwavering. "The forest deserves peace, and we need to protect it from falling back into darkness." The townspeople nodded in agreement, their faces a mix of fear and determination. Mrs. Marsh stepped forward, her presence commanding respect. "Emma is right. We must stand together to protect our town and the forest that sustains us. The cult's actions threaten not only Whispering Pines, but the very balance of nature itself." Clara chimed in, her voice steady. "I've been researching the codex and the rituals the cult has been performing. There might be a way to counter their efforts, but we'll need all the help we can get." Tom nodded, his pragmatic nature shining through. "I've secured some supplies we might need, and I've been in touch with a few of the older residents who might have more information about the cult's origins." Mr. Blackwood, usually reserved, stepped forward, his piercing blue eyes reflecting a newfound resolve. "I may know of a place deeper in the forest where the cult has been meeting. It's risky, but if we can disrupt their rituals, we might be able to weaken their hold on the Heartstone." Emma felt a surge of hope. With the support of the community and the combined strengths of her allies, she believed they stood a fighting chance against the cult. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but together, they could confront the darkness that threatened to engulf their town once more. Preparing for the battle over the next few days, the town mobilized, preparing for the impending confrontation with the cult. Emma worked closely with Clara to decipher the Codex Noctis, seeking ways to counteract the rituals the cultists were performing. Tom organized supplies, ensuring they had the necessary tools and resources for their mission. Mrs. Marsh provided wisdom and guidance, her knowledge of the town's history proving invaluable. Mr. Blackwood led a small group into the forest, retracing the cult's recent activities and gathering intelligence on their movements. The information he brought back was crucial. They had pinpointed the location of the cult's hidden meeting place, a secluded grove deep within the forest, where the most potent rituals were conducted. As the group prepared for their mission, Emma couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. She had come to Whispering Pines seeking solace from her past, but now she found herself at the center of a battle against darkness and despair. The forest, once a symbol of fear, now stood as both an ally and an adversary, its secrets intertwined with the fate of the town. The night before, on the eve of their mission, the town held a small gathering at the community center, a moment of unity and resolve. The air was thick with anticipation, the townspeople offering words of encouragement and support to Emma and her team. It was a reminder that they were not alone in their fight, that the collective strength of the community was a formidable force against the cult's malevolent intentions. Emma stood before the group, her voice filled with determination. "Tomorrow, we face the darkness that has haunted our town for far too long, but together, we have the strength to overcome it. We fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of Whispering Pines and the harmony of the forest that sustains us." The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers a resounding affirmation of their shared commitment. As the night deepened, Emma took a moment to herself, gazing out the window at the tranquil forest. The shadows had lessened, replaced by the gentle glow of the moon and the soft whispers of the night. She felt a sense of calm wash over her, bolstered by the support of her community and the hope that they could indeed restore balance to their beloved town. The confrontation. The next morning, Emma and her team set out for the secluded grove, the forest stretching endlessly before them. The path was narrow and overgrown, the trees arching overhead to form a natural canopy that filtered the sunlight into a soft green glow. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, the sounds of the forest a constant backdrop to their journey. As they approached the grove, the sense of foreboding intensified. The trees here were older, their trunks gnarled and twisted, their branches reaching out like skeletal hands. The ground was uneven, the path obscured by fallen leaves and tangled vines. Emma felt the forest watching them, its energy both protective and menacing. In the center of the grove stood a circle of stone pillars, each one inscribed with the same symbols that had been central to the rituals she had performed. The Heartstone, now glowing with a purified light, lay at the center of the circle, its presence a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. As Emma approached the Heartstone, she saw the hooded figures of the cultists gathered around it, their chants rising in intensity. Marcus Blackwood stood at the forefront, his eyes fixed on the Heartstone with a mix of reverence and ambition. The atmosphere was charged with energy, the forest itself seeming to hold its breath in anticipation of the ritual's outcome. Emma took a deep breath, summoning her courage. "Stop, Marcus," she called out, her voice strong and unwavering. "This ends now. You can't control the Heartstone's power any longer." Marcus turned to face her, his expression a mask of determination. "Emma Hartley, you misunderstand. The Heartstone's power is our salvation. With it, we can ensure the prosperity and protection of Whispering Pines for generations to come." Emma shook her head, her resolve unbroken. "At what cost, Marcus? The forest has suffered enough. Your rituals have brought nothing but pain and destruction. We can restore balance without resorting to your twisted methods." The tension in the grove was palpable, the energy between Emma and Marcus crackling like a storm about to break. The other cultists watched, their chants faltering as they sensed the confrontation. The Heartstone's light flickered, responding to the mounting conflict. Suddenly, the forest erupted in response. The trees swayed violently, their branches thrashing in the wind, as if the very essence of nature was rebelling against the cult's attempts to control it. The ground trembled, and the air grew thick with dark energy, the whispers now a deafening roar that filled Emma's ears. Marcus raised his hands, the symbols on the stone pillars glowing with an ominous light. "You can't stop us, Emma. The Heartstone's power is beyond your understanding. With it, we can reshape the future of Whispering Pines." Emma stepped forward, her eyes locked on Marcus's. "No, Marcus, it's not about control or power. It's about harmony and respect for the natural order. The Heartstone belongs to the forest, not to those who seek to manipulate it for their own gain." In that moment, the Heartstone pulsed with a brilliant light, responding to Emma's words. The energy in the grove shifted, the dark forces that had been unleashed by the cult's rituals beginning to dissipate. The forest seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, the oppressive atmosphere lifting as the balance was restored. Marcus's face contorted with rage and frustration as he realized the futility of his efforts. "This isn't over, Emma. The forest's power is eternal, and so is our quest to harness it." Before he could react further, the purified Heartstone released a surge of energy that enveloped the grove, neutralizing the dark forces and severing the cultists' hold on the forest's power. The stone pillars dimmed, the symbols fading into the stone as the Heartstone returned to its serene glow. Emma felt a wave of exhaustion wash over her, the battle draining her physically and mentally. She glanced around at the grove, the forest now calm and still, the oppressive darkness replaced by a sense of peace. The whispers had ceased, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant songs of birds. Marcus, now visibly weakened, collapsed to his knees, his hood falling back to reveal a weary and defeated face. "You win, Emma," he whispered, the anger and determination in his eyes giving way to resignation. "But know this, there are other forces at play, other secrets hidden within the forest that you have yet to uncover." Emma approached him cautiously, her heart heavy with the weight of his words. "We'll face whatever comes together, Marcus. The town of Whispering Pines stands united against the darkness." As Emma and her team made their way back to the cabin, the sense of victory was tempered by the lingering knowledge that their battle was not yet truly over. The forest, though peaceful for now, still held many secrets and mysteries that awaited discovery. The bond between Emma and the town had been solidified, their shared experiences forging a community united by resilience and hope, consequences and reflections. In the days that followed, Whispering Pines began to heal from the ordeal. The strange occurrences had ceased, replaced by a renewed sense of harmony and tranquility. The forest, once a source of fear, now stood as a symbol of resilience and renewal, its beauty undiminished by the shadows that had long plagued it. Emma found solace in the newfound peace. Her bond with the forest deepened by the trials she had endured. She continued her research, delving into the remaining mysteries of the Codex Noctis and the diary of Eleanor Whitaker. Each discovery brought her closer to understanding the intricate balance between humanity and nature, the delicate interplay of power and respect that sustained both. However, the events of the past weeks had left an indelible mark on Emma's psyche. The shadows that had once plagued her vision were now a distant memory, but the echoes of the whispers lingered in her mind, a reminder of the darkness that had been confronted and subdued. She often found herself gazing into the night, the stars twinkling like distant eyes watching over the town, their light a reflection of the countless possibilities that lay ahead. One evening, as Emma sat by the fireplace, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to Whispering Pines. The loss of her husband had driven her to seek solace in this secluded town, but what she had found instead was a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. The horrors she had faced had tested her to her very core, revealing strengths and resilience she never knew she possessed. As she gazed into the flickering flames, Emma felt a sense of contentment settle over her. She had not only found peace for herself, but had also played a pivotal role in restoring balance to a town that had long been overshadowed by darkness. The bond she had formed with the community and the forest was a testament to the enduring spirit of Whispering Pines, a legacy of hope and unity that would carry the town forward into a future free from the shadows of the past. Lingering mysteries. Despite the sense of resolution, Emma couldn't entirely shake the feeling that the forest still held more secrets, more stories waiting to be told. The whispers, though now gentle and harmonious, hinted at layers of history and mystery yet to be uncovered. She knew that her journey with Whispering Pines was far from complete, that the forest's essence was intertwined with her own path of healing and discovery. One night, as Emma walked along the edge of the forest, she felt a familiar presence watching her. The shadows seemed to dance at the periphery of her vision, their movements subtle but unmistakable. She stopped, her senses heightened, and listened to the soft whispers carried on the breeze. Unlike the cacophony of fear and despair that had once plagued her, these whispers were calm and inviting, a gentle reminder of the forest's enduring presence. "Guard the balance, Emma," the whispers seemed to say. "Protect the harmony and honor the pact." Emma smiled softly, acknowledging the forest's message. She understood that her role as the guardian of Whispering Pines was an ongoing journey, a continuous effort to maintain the delicate balance between humanity and nature. The forest, with all its beauty and mystery, was a living entity that required respect and understanding, its secrets a source of both awe and responsibility. As she continued her walk, Emma felt a profound connection to the forest and the community she had helped to protect. She knew that Whispering Pines was more than just a town. It was a living, breathing entity, its essence intertwined with the lives of those who called it home. The bond she had forged with the townspeople and the forest was a testament to the power of unity and the enduring spirit of resilience. A new beginning. In the weeks that followed, Whispering Pines flourished, the scars of the past slowly fading as the town embraced a new era of peace and prosperity. The forest, once a place of fear and mystery, now stood as a symbol of strength and renewal, its beauty undiminished by the shadows that had long plagued it. Emma found herself at the heart of the community, her role as a leader and protector solidified by her courage and dedication. One morning, as the first light of dawn filtered through the trees, Emma received a visit from Mrs. Marsh. The elderly woman carried a bundle of old photographs and letters, her eyes shining with pride and gratitude. "Emma, I thought you might want to see these," Mrs. Marsh said, handing her the collection. "They belong to my family, and they tell a story of our town's history that hasn't been fully explored yet." Emma carefully examined the photographs, recognizing familiar faces and landmarks. Among them was a group of settlers standing before the very altar Emma had encountered in the stone circle, their expressions a mix of hope and determination. The letters provided further insights into the early days of Whispering Pines, detailing the challenges and triumphs of its founders and the intricate relationship they had with the forest. As Emma delved into the letters, she discovered references to forgotten alliances, and ancient knowledge that had been lost over time. The writings spoke of a council of harmony, a group of leaders who had sought to maintain the balance between the town and the forest, ensuring that neither side overwhelmed the other. Their efforts had been overshadowed by the cult's rise to power, but the principles they had established continued to resonate through the generations. Inspired by these discoveries, Emma decided to honor the legacy of the Council of Harmony by establishing a new tradition in Whispering Pines, a day of celebration and reflection dedicated to maintaining the balance and respecting the forest's natural order. The town embraced the idea, and the first Harmony Day was marked by a series of communal activities, including guided walks through the forest, storytelling sessions, and the creation of a communal garden that symbolized the town's commitment to harmony and renewal. Embracing the future. As Harmony Day became an annual tradition, Whispering Pines blossomed into a thriving community, its bond with the forest stronger than ever. Emma took pride in the positive changes sweeping through the town, her efforts contributing to a legacy of unity and resilience. The shadows that had once haunted the town were now a distant memory, replaced by the light of hope and the promise of a brighter future. However, Emma remained vigilant, aware that the forest's mysteries were still unfolding. She continued her research, driven by a desire to uncover every hidden truth and ensure that Whispering Pines remained a place of peace and harmony. The Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary became treasured artifacts, their knowledge guiding Emma and the townspeople in their ongoing quest to honor the pact and protect the balance that sustained their lives. One evening, as Emma walked through the forest, she felt a familiar presence. A gentle whisper carried on the breeze, a reminder of the journey she had undertaken and the battles she had fought. "Guard the balance," the whisper seemed to say, echoing the forest's enduring message of harmony and respect. Emma smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. She had come to Whispering Pines seeking refuge from her past, but what she had found was a community bound by resilience, a forest alive with secrets, and a legacy of unity that would carry the town forward into a future free from the shadows of the past. As the sun set and the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Emma stood on her porch, gazing into the tranquil expanse of trees. The forest, once a source of fear and mystery, now stood as a symbol of strength and renewal, its beauty a testament to the enduring spirit of Whispering Pines and the unbreakable bond between the town and the natural world. Chapter 8. Allies in the Dark. The aftermath of the final ritual had left Whispering Pines bathed in an eerie tranquility. The oppressive darkness that had long overshadowed the town had lifted, replaced by a serene calm that seemed almost surreal. Emma Hartley stood at the edge of the stone circle, the Heartstone's pure light casting gentle reflections on her weary face. The night sky above was clear, the stars twinkling like distant eyes watching over the town. Yet beneath the surface of this newfound peace, a subtle unease lingered, a whisper of secrets yet to be uncovered. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere was quiet, the only sounds being the crackling of the fireplace and the soft rustle of pages as Emma reviewed her notes. The Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary lay open on the table, their pages filled with cryptic symbols and fragmented narratives that hinted at deeper mysteries. Emma knew that while the ritual had restored balance, it had also awakened forces that had been lying dormant, their presence now more palpable than ever. As dawn broke, Emma felt the weight of her responsibilities settle heavily upon her shoulders. She had succeeded in cleansing the Heartstone and restoring harmony, but the forest's lingering mysteries demanded her attention. Determined to delve deeper, she began to formulate a plan to explore the remaining secrets of Whispering Pines, aware that the true battle was only just beginning. A call for unity. Emma knew that tackling the remaining enigmas alone would be futile. The forest's darkness had shown its capacity to test the human spirit, and she realized that unity was their greatest strength. She decided to reach out to the townspeople, to form a group dedicated to uncovering and protecting the town from any residual malevolent forces. She invited Mrs. Marsh, Clara, Tom, and Mr. Blackwood to a meeting at the community center. The response was overwhelmingly positive, the townspeople eager to contribute and ensure that the peace they had achieved was not fleeting. The room buzzed with anticipation as Emma outlined her vision for the group. A collective effort to safeguard Whispering Pines and explore the remaining mysteries of the forest. Clara, the librarian, brought in valuable knowledge from her extensive research, her understanding of local folklore and ancient texts proving crucial. Tom, with his resourcefulness, organized supplies and logistical support, ensuring that the group was well equipped for their explorations. Mr. Blackwood, despite his enigmatic demeanor, offered deep insights into the forest's behavior and the cult's methodologies, his experiences lending a practical edge to their endeavors. Mrs. Marsh, with her wealth of historical knowledge, provided context and connections to the town's past, her wisdom guiding the group's actions. Venturing deeper, with the group assembled, Emma felt a surge of hope. They began their investigations by revisiting key locations that held significance in Whispering Pines' history: the stone circle, the hidden chamber beneath the church, and other sacred sites that had been overlooked or forgotten over the years. Each site offered new clues, pieces of a puzzle that slowly began to form a clearer picture of the town's intricate relationship with the forest. Their next destination was the Old Mill, a structure that had once been the lifeblood of Whispering Pines, but had fallen into disrepair after the cult's rise to power. The mill stood on the outskirts of town, its broken windows and overgrown surroundings a stark contrast to the revitalized heart of Whispering Pines. As the group approached, Emma felt a familiar chill, a reminder that the forest's influence extended far beyond the town's immediate boundaries. Inside the mill, the air was thick with the scent of mold and decay. Dust motes danced in the beams of light that filtered through the broken windows, casting long shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. The group split up, each member exploring different sections of the building in search of hidden passages or forgotten artifacts. Clara discovered a loose floorboard near the fireplace, her fingers deftly prying it open to reveal a narrow staircase leading downward. The air grew colder as she descended, the darkness enveloping her as she navigated the confined space. At the bottom, she found a small, hidden room filled with old documents and relics, a trove of information that had been hidden away for decades. Emma joined her, the room illuminated by the soft glow of a lantern Tom had brought. They pored over the documents, uncovering references to the Council of Harmony, a group of town leaders who had sought to maintain balance between the town and the forest. The records detailed their efforts to perform rituals that honored the natural order, ensuring that the forest's power was respected rather than exploited. One document stood out, a detailed map of the forest that highlighted several unmarked locations. Emma realized that these sites were likely crucial to understanding the full extent of the forest's mysteries. Determined to follow these leads, she shared the map with the group, outlining a plan to explore each marked location systematically. Unseen forces. As the group ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered signs that suggested the lingering presence of dark forces. Strange symbols were etched into the trees, their meaning still elusive but clearly connected to the ancient rituals they had been studying. The atmosphere grew heavier, the air thick with an oppressive energy that seemed to press down on them with every step. One evening, as the group set up camp near a secluded stream, Emma felt a presence watching her from the shadows. The whispers that had once been a distant memory now returned, their fragmented messages filled with warning and sorrow. She tried to focus on her work, but the whispers gnawed at her sanity, blurring the line between reality and illusion. Mrs. Marsh noticed Emma's distress and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone in this, Emma. We're here to support you, to face whatever comes together." Emma nodded, taking a deep breath to steady herself. "I know, but sometimes I feel like the forest is testing us, pushing us to our limits." Clara spoke up, her voice gentle yet resolute. "We've come this far because we believe in the balance that Whispering Pines represents. We can't let fear control us." Tom added, "We've faced darkness before and we'll do it again. Together, we're stronger." The hidden sanctuary. Their journey led them to a hidden sanctuary deep within the forest, a place of profound beauty and serene energy. The sanctuary was a natural amphitheater surrounded by towering trees, their branches forming a protective canopy overhead. At the center stood a stone pedestal, similar to the one Emma had encountered earlier, but this one was adorned with vibrant flora, flowers and vines that seemed to thrive in harmony with the stone's presence. As the group approached, they felt a sense of calm wash over them. The oppressive energy of the forest momentarily lifted. Emma realized that this sanctuary was a place of restoration, a testament to the town's enduring commitment to balance and harmony. The hearthstone at the center pulsed with a gentle light, its energy a beacon of hope and renewal. Clara began to document the sanctuary, her fingers tracing the intricate symbols etched into the stone pedestal. These symbols are more than just part of a ritual language. They represent the natural elements, earth, water, fire, and air, in a harmonious balance. Emma felt a deep sense of connection to the sanctuary, understanding that this place held the key to fully restoring the balance that had been disrupted by the cult's actions. She approached the hearthstone, placing her hand upon its smooth surface, feeling the purified energy resonate through her being. As she closed her eyes, Emma began to meditate, focusing her mind on the harmony she sought to restore. The whispers returned, but this time they were soothing and melodic, guiding her thoughts toward clarity and purpose. She felt a presence, a spirit of the forest, flowing through her, its essence intertwined with her own. "Restore the balance," the whispers echoed, a harmonious chorus that filled her mind with determination. Emma opened her eyes, a renewed sense of purpose fueling her actions. She knew that the final step in their mission lay in performing a restorative ritual within this sanctuary, a ceremony that would cement the balance between the town and the forest once and for all. With the support of her allies and the collective strength of the community, she felt confident that they could overcome any lingering darkness. The final ritual gathering. The group around the hearthstone. Emma began to outline the steps of the restorative ritual. They would need to channel their collective energy, honoring the natural elements and reaffirming their commitment to balance and harmony. The Codex Noctis provided the necessary incantations and instructions, but the true power of the ritual lay in their unity and shared resolve. As night fell once more, the group prepared for the ritual, each member playing a vital role in the ceremony. Clara handled the documentation, ensuring that every step was recorded for future generations. Tom organized the necessary materials, including candles, herbs, and sacred symbols that had been identified as crucial to the ritual's success. Mr. Blackwood, drawing upon his deep understanding of the forest's behavior, positioned the stone pedestal in alignment with the natural elements surrounding the sanctuary. Emma stood at the center, the hearthstone pulsating with a serene light. She began the incantation, her voice steady and resolute, guiding the group through the ritual. The symbols on the pedestal glowed softly, their light intertwining with the flickering candles and the aromatic herbs, creating a harmonious convergence of energy. As the ritual progressed, the forest responded in kind. The trees swayed gently, their branches forming intricate patterns that mirrored the symbols on the pedestal. The whispers transformed into a soothing melody, their voices blending with the natural sounds of the forest to create a symphony of balance and harmony. Emma felt the collective energy of the group flowing through her, a powerful force that transcended individual efforts. The hearthstone's light grew brighter, its energy intertwining with the natural elements around them, sealing the bond between the town and the forest. A surge of energy, as the final words of the incantation echoed through the sanctuary. A surge of energy rippled through the clearing. The hearthstone blazed with radiant light, its glow intensifying until it seemed to merge with the natural brilliance of the forest around them. The ground beneath their feet thrummed with power, the air thick with the essence of nature's harmony. The forest responded with an awe-inspiring display. Leaves shimmered in vibrant hues, flowers bloomed in abundance, and the once dormant symbols on the stone pedestal glowed with renewed vitality. The oppressive shadows that had plagued Whispering Pines for so long were now replaced by an overwhelming sense of peace and unity. Emma felt a profound connection to the hearthstone and the forest, their energies intertwining in a dance of balance and renewal. She could sense the presence of the forest spirits, their essence now aligned with the town's collective will. The ritual had not only restored the balance, but also deepened the bond between humanity and nature, ensuring that neither would overpower the other. Whispers of gratitude. As the energy of the ritual reached its peak, the whispers that had once filled Emma's mind transformed into voices of gratitude and acknowledgement. The spirits of the forest, once bound by darkness, now expressed their thanks for the town's renewed commitment to harmony and respect. "Thank you," the voices seemed to say, a harmonious chorus that resonated with the natural rhythm of the forest. You have honored the pact and restored the balance. Peace shall reign in Whispering Pines. Emma felt tears welling in her eyes, a mixture of relief, joy, and fulfillment washing over her. She had come to Whispering Pines seeking solace from her past, and in doing so, she had found a community and a purpose that transcended her own healing. The bonds she had forged with the townspeople and the forest were now unbreakable, their shared journey a testament to the power of unity and resilience. A new dawn. As the ritual concluded, the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees, illuminating the sanctuary with a golden glow. The group stood together, the sense of accomplishment and hope palpable in the air. Emma looked around at the faces of her allies, their expressions a mix of exhaustion and triumph, knowing that they had overcome one of the greatest challenges Whispering Pines had ever faced. Mrs. Marsh stepped forward, her eyes shining with pride. "You have done it, Emma. The town owes you a debt of gratitude. But remember, our journey doesn't end here. We must continue to honor the balance we have restored and remain vigilant against any future disturbances." Emma nodded, feeling the weight of her responsibilities once more. "We will. Together we can ensure that Whispering Pines remains a place of harmony and peace." Clara added, "The records we've uncovered and the rituals we've performed will serve as a guide for future generations, ensuring that the lessons we've learned are never forgotten." Tom, always pragmatic, chimed in. "And with Mr. Blackwood's knowledge of the forest, we can better understand and protect our town from any potential threats." Mr. Blackwood, his demeanor more open and cooperative, nodded in agreement. "The forest is a living entity, and its secrets are vast, but with respect and understanding, we can coexist and thrive together." Strengthening bonds. In the weeks that followed, Whispering Pines flourished like never before. The town's residents worked together to rebuild and enhance their community, their efforts infused with the newfound sense of unity and purpose. The forest, once a source of fear and mystery, now stood as a symbol of resilience and renewal, its beauty and serenity reflecting the harmony that had been achieved. Emma continued her research, delving deeper into the Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary, uncovering more about the ancient rituals and the forest's intricate balance. She established a council composed of key community members, ensuring that the knowledge and wisdom they had gained were preserved and passed down to future generations. Facing new challenges, despite the harmony, Emma remained vigilant, aware that the forest's mysteries were still unfolding. The whispers, though now gentle and harmonious, hinted at stories yet to be told and secrets yet to be uncovered. She knew that her role as the guardian of Whispering Pines was an ongoing journey, a continuous effort to maintain the delicate balance between humanity and nature. One evening, as Emma walked through the serene forest, she felt a subtle shift in the air, a reminder that the forest was alive with energy and consciousness. She paused, listening to the sounds around her, the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant songs of birds, a testament to the forest's enduring presence. Suddenly, she heard a faint whisper, barely audible over the natural sounds of the forest. "Protect the harmony, Emma." Emma stopped, her heart racing as she scanned her surroundings. The whisper seemed to emanate from a nearby grove, a place they had not yet explored. Curious and cautious, she decided to investigate, her footsteps light and deliberate as she navigated the familiar yet ever-changing landscape of the forest. Discovering the hidden grove. As she approached the grove, Emma felt a sense of anticipation mixed with trepidation. The grove was secluded, a natural sanctuary untouched by time, with a small pond at its center, reflecting the moonlight that filtered through the trees. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the soothing sounds of nature, creating an atmosphere of profound peace. In the center of the pond stood a stone altar, similar to those they had encountered during their investigations, but this one was adorned with intricate carvings and vibrant flora that seemed to pulse with life. Emma approached the altar, her flashlight illuminating the detailed symbols that surrounded it. As she examined the carvings, she noticed a series of interlocking patterns that formed a map of the forest, highlighting several key locations that they had yet to explore. The symbols resonated with a deep, ancient energy, their meanings now clearer after the collective efforts of the group. Emma realized that the hidden grove was another pivotal site, one that held the key to fully understanding the forest's intricate balance and ensuring that the harmony they had achieved would endure. She knew that this discovery was a call to action, a reminder that their journey was far from over, and that there were still secrets to uncover and challenges to face. Gathering the community, determined to share her discovery, Emma returned to the community center, the Hidden Grove's map and symbols now fully documented in her notes. She convened another meeting, inviting Mrs. Marsh, Clara, Tom, Mr. Blackwood, and other key residents who had been instrumental in their previous endeavors. As the group gathered, Emma presented her findings, outlining the significance of the Hidden Grove and the additional locations marked on the map. The forest has many layers of mystery, and while we've made great strides in restoring balance, there are still elements that we need to understand and protect, Emma explained, her voice steady and resolute. Mrs. Marsh nodded thoughtfully. This Hidden Grove appears to be a sanctuary of sorts, a place where the forest's natural energy is concentrated. The symbols indicate that it plays a crucial role in maintaining the overall harmony of Whispering Pines. Clara added, "The map shows several other locations that we haven't yet explored. These sites could hold further insights into the forest's power and the rituals that sustain the balance." Tom, ever the pragmatist, suggested, "We should organize a series of expeditions to these locations, ensuring that we document everything thoroughly. The more we understand, the better we can protect our town and the forest." Mr. Blackwood, his enigmatic presence now more cooperative, agreed. "I can lead the first expedition, utilizing my knowledge of the forest's behavior and the patterns we've observed so far. With careful planning, we can uncover the remaining secrets without disturbing the natural order." The first expedition. The following week, the group set out on their first expedition to one of the marked locations, a secluded glade known as the Whispering Hollow. The glade was nestled deep within the forest, accessible only through a narrow, winding path that required careful navigation. The air was thick with anticipation as they approached the site, the symbols on the map guiding their every step. As they entered the glade, Emma felt a profound sense of peace, the energy here more vibrant and harmonious than anywhere else they had explored. The center of the glade was dominated by a large ancient tree, its branches sprawling outward like protective arms. The ground was covered in a carpet of soft moss and vibrant flowers, their colors a stark contrast to the dark, imposing trees surrounding them. Clara began to document the scene, her fingers deftly sketching the intricate patterns that adorned the tree's bark. These symbols are consistent with those we've seen before, but they seem to represent a different aspect of the forest's energy, perhaps related to growth and renewal. Emma approached the tree, her hand reaching out to touch the cool, textured bark. As she did, a gentle vibration coursed through her, the symbols resonating with the energy of the heartstone. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to connect with the tree's essence, feeling a deep sense of harmony and unity. Suddenly, the peaceful atmosphere was disrupted by a faint rustling sound. The group turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, a young woman with long, flowing hair and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of the forest itself. She wore a simple, flowing dress adorned with natural motifs, her presence both ethereal and commanding. "Welcome," she greeted, her voice melodious and soothing. "I am Elara, a guardian of Whispering Pines. You have honored the pact and restored the balance, but there are still challenges that lie ahead." Emma stepped forward, her curiosity piqued. "Elara, we seek to understand the remaining mysteries of the forest and ensure that the harmony we have achieved endures. Can you help us?" Elara nodded, her expression serene yet resolute. The forest is a living entity, constantly evolving and adapting. While the rituals you have performed have restored balance, the forest's natural cycles and the energies within it require ongoing attention and respect. There are ancient forces at play, and understanding them is key to maintaining the harmony you have achieved. Learning from Elara, over the next few days, Elara guided the group through the Hidden Grove and other sacred sites, imparting her knowledge of the forest's intricate balance and the ancient rituals that sustained it. She explained that the forest's power was not just contained within the Heartstone, but was woven into the very fabric of the natural world. Every tree, stream, and creature played a role in maintaining the equilibrium. To truly honor the forest, you must embrace its rhythms and cycles, Elara explained during one of their sessions. The rituals we've performed are not one-time events, but ongoing practices that require mindfulness and respect. By understanding and participating in these natural processes, you can ensure that Whispering Pines remains a place of harmony and peace. Emma listened intently, absorbing Alara's teachings with gratitude and determination. She realized that their efforts had only scratched the surface of the forest's profound complexity, and there was still much to learn and explore. The group's mission had evolved from mere survival to a deeper, more nuanced understanding of the relationship between humanity and nature. Facing inner demons. As the group delved deeper into the forest's mysteries, Emma found herself confronting not only the external challenges posed by the lingering dark forces, but also her own inner demons. The whispers that had once plagued her mind were now a distant memory, but the journey had left her with scars that were not easily healed. She struggled with feelings of guilt and loss, the memories of her late husband intertwining with the town's haunted past. One night, as she sat alone by the fireplace, Emma reflected on her journey. The loss of her husband had driven her to Whispering Pines, seeking solace and a fresh start, but she had found herself entangled in a battle against darkness that she never anticipated. The forest had tested her in ways she couldn't have imagined, pushing her to her limits and revealing strengths she never knew she possessed. Tears welled in her eyes as she thought of her husband, the love they had shared, and the pain of his absence. She felt a deep sense of longing, a yearning for the peace she had hoped to find, but had instead discovered through the trials of Whispering Pines. The journey had been one of healing and self-discovery, each step bringing her closer to understanding herself and her place in the world. A new threat emerges. Just as the group began to settle into a rhythm of exploration and restoration, a new threat emerged, one that threatened to disrupt the delicate balance they had worked so hard to achieve. During one of their expeditions, Clara uncovered a hidden compartment within an ancient tree, revealing a series of dark artifacts and a cryptic message etched into the bark. The message spoke of a forbidden ritual, one that sought to harness the forest's dark energies for personal gain, a stark reminder of the cult's original intentions. It hinted at the existence of a second Heartstone, a counterpart to the one they had purified, designed to channel and amplify the forest's power in ways that defied the natural order. Emma realized that the resurgence of the cult's dark forces was not an isolated incident, but part of a larger, more insidious plan to exploit the forest's power. The existence of a second Heartstone posed a significant threat, one that could undo the harmony they had achieved and plunge Whispering Pines back into darkness. "We need to find this second Heartstone and neutralize it before it's too late," Emma declared, her voice filled with urgency. "If the cult succeeds, the balance we've worked so hard to restore will be shattered." The race against time. With the discovery of the second Heartstone, the group's mission took on a new level of urgency. They had to locate and neutralize the artifact before the cult could use it to reignite the darkness that had plagued Whispering Pines for so long. The map they had uncovered pointed to several potential locations, each one marked with the same intricate symbols that had guided their previous efforts. Emma and her allies prepared for the race against time, organizing expeditions to the marked locations and coordinating their efforts to cover as much ground as possible. The pressure was immense, the stakes higher than ever, but the group's unity and determination provided a beacon of hope amidst the mounting challenges. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered signs of the cult's renewed activities, more stone markers, hidden altars, and evidence of recent rituals aimed at harnessing the forest's dark energies. The presence of the cult was more pronounced, their malevolent influence spreading through the forest like a corrupting force. Confronting the cult's leader, their search eventually led them to a remote part of the forest, a place that seemed untouched by time and decay. Here stood an ancient stone archway, a gateway to a hidden sanctuary where the cult had established their stronghold. The archway was adorned with intricate carvings, their symbols pulsating with dark energy that sent chills down Emma's spine. As the group approached the sanctuary, they could sense the powerful presence of dark forces at work, the air thick with the scent of burning herbs and the acrid tang of incense. The whispers grew louder, their messages now more coherent and insistent, urging the cultists to complete their dark rituals and harness the forest's true power. Inside the sanctuary, the group found a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one more foreboding than the last. The walls were lined with dark tapestries depicting scenes of ancient rituals and forbidden knowledge, their meanings lost to time. The heart of the sanctuary was dominated by a large stone altar, upon which lay the second heartstone, its surface dark and pulsating with malevolent energy. As Emma and her allies approached the altar, they were met by the cult's leader, a figure cloaked in darkness, his eyes burning with an unholy light. "You cannot stop us," he declared, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The Heartstone's power is eternal, and with it, we will reshape Whispering Pines into a place of true power and prosperity." Emma stood her ground, her resolve unwavering. "The Heartstone's power belongs to the forest, not to those who seek to exploit it for their own gain. We will not allow you to disrupt the balance we have worked so hard to restore." A fierce battle ensued, the clash of energies creating a tempest of light and darkness that threatened to consume them all. The second Heartstone pulsed with a sinister glow, its dark energy amplifying the cult's power as they attempted to complete their ritual. Emma and her allies fought with everything they had, their collective strength a beacon of hope against the overwhelming darkness. In the midst of the chaos, Elara appeared once more, her presence a guiding light in the battle against the cult's malevolent forces. "Together," she urged, "we can neutralize the Heartstone and restore the balance once and for all." Drawing upon the knowledge and unity they had built, the group combined their energies, channeling the purified power of the Heartstone to counteract the dark forces at play. The clash of energies reached a fever pitch, the sanctuary trembling under the immense power being unleashed. With a final, unified effort, Emma and her allies succeeded in neutralizing the second Heartstone, its dark energy dissipating into the air as the cult's leader and his followers were engulfed by the purifying light. The forest responded with a powerful surge of energy, the balance they had worked so hard to achieve now firmly restored. A lasting legacy. As the dust settled and the echoes of the battle faded, Emma looked around at the sanctuary now bathed in a serene, harmonious light. The forest's whispers had transformed into a soothing melody, the spirits of the forest expressing their gratitude and approval. The second Heartstone lay inert, its malevolent energy eradicated by the collective strength and unity of the group. The townspeople returned to Whispering Pines, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they had triumphed over darkness once more. The bonds they had forged through their shared journey had created a resilient and united community, ready to face any challenges that might arise in the future. Emma stood at the edge of the stone circle, the Heartstone's pure light reflecting in her eyes. She felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had not only found peace for herself, but had also played a pivotal role in protecting her town and preserving the harmony between humanity and nature. As she gazed into the tranquil forest, Emma knew that the legacy of Whispering Pines was one of resilience, unity, and unwavering commitment to balance and harmony. The challenges they had faced had tested their limits, but they had emerged stronger and more connected than ever before, embracing the future. In the months that followed, Whispering Pines thrived, the scars of the past slowly fading as the community embraced a new era of peace and prosperity. The forest, once a place of fear and mystery, now stood as a symbol of strength and renewal, its beauty and serenity reflecting the harmony that had been achieved. Emma continued her work, delving deeper into the Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary, uncovering more about the ancient rituals and the forest's intricate balance. She established a council composed of key community members, ensuring that the knowledge and wisdom they had gained were preserved and passed down to future generations. However, despite the peace that had settled over Whispering Pines, Emma remained vigilant, aware that the forest's mysteries were still unfolding. The whispers, though now gentle and harmonious, hinted at stories yet to be told and secrets yet to be uncovered. She knew that her role as the guardian of Whispering Pines was an ongoing journey, a continuous effort to maintain the delicate balance between humanity and nature. One evening, as Emma walked through the serene forest, she felt a subtle shift in the air, a reminder that the forest was alive with energy and consciousness. She paused, listening to the sounds around her, the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant songs of birds a testament to the forest's enduring presence. Suddenly, she heard a faint whisper, barely audible over the natural sounds of the forest. "Guard the balance, Emma." Emma stopped, her heart racing as she scanned her surroundings. The whisper seemed to emanate from a nearby grove, a place they had not yet explored. Curious and cautious, she decided to investigate, her footsteps light and deliberate as she navigated the familiar yet ever-changing landscape of the forest. Discovering the hidden grove. As she approached the grove, Emma felt a sense of anticipation mixed with trepidation. The grove was secluded, a natural sanctuary untouched by time, with a small pond at its center, reflecting the moonlight that filtered through the trees. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the soothing sounds of nature, creating an atmosphere of profound peace. In the center of the pond stood a stone altar, similar to those they had encountered during their investigations. But this one was adorned with intricate carvings and vibrant flora that seemed to pulse with life. Emma approached the altar, her flashlight illuminating the detailed symbols that surrounded it. As she examined the carvings, she noticed a series of interlocking patterns that formed a map of the forest, highlighting several key locations that they had yet to explore. The symbols resonated with a deep, ancient energy, their meanings now clearer after the collective efforts of the group. Emma realized that the Hidden Grove was another pivotal site, one that held the key to fully understanding the forest's intricate balance and ensuring that the harmony they had achieved would endure. She knew that this discovery was a call to action, a reminder that their journey was far from over, and that there were still secrets to uncover and challenges to face. Gathering the community, determined to share her discovery, Emma returned to the community center, the Hidden Grove's map and symbols now fully documented in her notes. She convened another meeting, inviting Mrs. Marsh, Clara, Tom, Mr. Blackwood, and other key residents who had been instrumental in their previous endeavors. As the group gathered, Emma presented her findings, outlining the significance of the Hidden Grove and the additional locations marked on the map. The forest has many layers of mystery, and while we've made great strides in restoring balance, there are still elements that we need to understand and protect, Emma explained, her voice steady and resolute. Mrs. Marsh nodded thoughtfully. This Hidden Grove appears to be a sanctuary of sorts, a place where the forest's natural energy is concentrated. The symbols indicate that it plays a crucial role in maintaining the overall harmony of Whispering Pines. Clara added, the map shows several other locations that we haven't yet explored. These sites could hold further insights into the forest's power and the rituals that sustain the balance. Tom, ever the pragmatist, suggested, we should organize a series of expeditions to these locations, ensuring that we document everything thoroughly. The more we understand, the better we can protect our town and the forest from any potential threats. Mr. Blackwood, his enigmatic presence now more cooperative, nodded. I can lead the first expedition, utilizing my knowledge of the forest's behavior and the patterns we've observed so far. With careful planning, we can uncover the remaining secrets without disturbing the natural order. The next expedition. The following week, the group set out on their next expedition, this time to a location marked on the map as the Whispering Falls, a cascading waterfall hidden deep within the forest. The journey was arduous, the path narrow and overgrown, the forest's energy palpable as they ventured deeper into its heart. As they approached the falls, the sound of rushing water grew louder, the sight of the majestic cascade taking their breath away. The falls were breathtaking, the water plunging into a crystal-clear pool, surrounded by lush vegetation and vibrant flowers. The area exuded a sense of serenity, the natural beauty enhanced by the rhythmic flow of the water. Clara began to document the sight, her fingers tracing the symbols etched into the rocks surrounding the pool. These symbols are similar to those we've seen before, but they seem to represent water and life, elements crucial to the forest's balance. Emma approached the pool, feeling the purified energy of the Heartstone resonate with the natural harmony of the falls. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to connect with the essence of the place, feeling a deep sense of peace and unity. Suddenly, the tranquil scene was disrupted by a faint, ghostly apparition, a spirit of the forest, its form shimmering like mist in the sunlight. The spirit regarded Emma and her allies with a serene yet commanding presence, its eyes reflecting the wisdom and knowledge of the forest itself. Welcome, the spirit greeted, its voice a harmonious blend of the natural sounds surrounding them. I am Aliana, a guardian of the Whispering Falls. You have honored the pact and restored the balance, but the forest's journey is ongoing. There are still elements that require your understanding and protection. Emma stepped forward, her voice filled with respect and determination. Eliana, we seek to maintain the harmony between our town and the forest. Can you guide us in our efforts to protect and preserve this balance? Eliana nodded, her form glowing with a gentle light. The Whispering Falls is a source of life and energy for the forest, a place of renewal and sustenance. To protect it, you must ensure that its energy flows freely and that it remains undisturbed by those who seek to exploit its power. Clara asked, "Are there any threats we should be aware of, or actions we need to take to safeguard the falls?" Eliana's eyes shimmered with ancient knowledge. The forest is resilient, but it is also vulnerable to those who do not respect its natural order. Ensure that the falls remain a sanctuary, a place where nature's rhythms are honored and protected. Maintain the sacred symbols and perform regular rituals to honor the energy that sustains this place. Emma felt a surge of gratitude, understanding the importance of their role in preserving the forest's harmony. We will do everything in our power to protect the Whispering Falls and ensure that its energy remains pure and untainted. Facing lingering darkness, as the group continued their explorations, they encountered remnants of the cult's dark influence that had not been entirely eradicated by their previous efforts. Hidden within the forest depths were remnants of corrupted rituals, twisted symbols, and dark energies that lingered like shadows on the edge of their consciousness. One evening, during an expedition to an unmarked location on the map, the group stumbled upon a forgotten grove shrouded in darkness. The air was thick with malevolent energy, the symbols on the trees pulsating with a sinister light. The ground was littered with remnants of dark rituals, burnt herbs, shattered crystals, and eerie offerings left behind by those who sought to harness the forest's dark powers. Emma felt a chill run down her spine as she sensed the lingering presence of the cult's dark forces. The whispers that had once been a source of fear now seemed to carry a sense of urgency and warning, urging them to be cautious and steadfast in their mission. "We need to cleanse this place," Tom declared, his voice filled with determination. "If these remnants aren't neutralized, they could attract the same dark energies that once plagued the town." Clara nodded, her eyes scanning the symbols for any signs of corruption. "I believe we can perform a purification ritual here, similar to what we did with the Heartstone. It will require our combined efforts and unwavering focus." The group set to work, gathering the necessary materials and preparing for the ritual. As they began the incantation, the dark energies within the grove seemed to resist, swirling violently around them in a tempest of malevolent force. The symbols on the trees glowed brighter, their power intensifying as the dark energies fought against the cleansing ritual. Emma felt the weight of the darkness pressing in on her, the shadows dancing at the edge of her vision, threatening to consume her with fear and doubt. She drew upon the knowledge and unity of her allies, their collective strength a beacon of hope against the overwhelming darkness. With a final, unified effort, the group succeeded in neutralizing the dark energies, the symbols on the trees fading into the stone as the malevolent forces were eradicated. The grove was cleansed, the oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by a sense of calm and renewal that echoed the harmony they had worked so hard to achieve. A new chapter begins. As the weeks turned into months, Whispering Pines continued to thrive, the town and the forest in perfect harmony. The group's efforts had not only restored balance, but had also forged a lasting legacy of unity and resilience. The forest, once a source of fear and mystery, now stood as a testament to the enduring spirit of the community and their unwavering commitment to protect and preserve the natural order. Emma felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had played a pivotal role in shaping the future of Whispering Pines. The bonds she had forged with her allies and the community were unbreakable, their shared experiences a source of strength and inspiration. One evening, as Emma sat by the pond in the hidden grove, Eliana appeared once more, her presence a calming light in the tranquil setting. "You have done well, Emma," she said, her voice filled with warmth and approval. "The balance has been restored, and Whispering Pines stands as a beacon of harmony and resilience. But remember, the forest's journey is ongoing, and so is your role in safeguarding its secrets." Emma nodded, her heart filled with gratitude and determination. "I understand, Eliana. We will continue to honor the balance and protect the harmony we've achieved. Thank you for your guidance and support." Eliana smiled, her form shimmering with ethereal light. The forest is grateful for your dedication and respect. Together, we can ensure that Whispering Pines remains a place of peace and prosperity for generations to come. As Eliana faded into the evening light, Emma felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. She knew that the challenges they had faced had only strengthened the community's resolve, and that their unity and unwavering commitment would continue to protect Whispering Pines from any future threats. Embracing the legacy with the forest now a symbol of resilience and renewal, Whispering Pines entered a new era of prosperity. The townspeople embraced the lessons they had learned, maintaining the sacred sites and performing regular rituals to honor the natural balance that sustained their lives. The forest thrived, its beauty and serenity a constant reminder of the harmony they had achieved together. Emma continued to lead the group, her role evolving into that of a guardian and mentor, guiding new generations in the ways of balance and respect for nature. The legacy of the Council of Harmony and the sacrifices of those who had come before were honored and remembered, their stories passed down through the generations as a testament to the power of unity and resilience. As the years passed, Whispering Pines became known not only for its natural beauty, but also for its strong sense of community and dedication to preserving the harmony between humanity and nature. The town stood as a beacon of hope, a place where the shadows of the past had been transformed into a legacy of light and renewal, a lasting peace. One peaceful afternoon, Emma found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to Whispering Pines. The loss of her husband had led her to seek refuge in this secluded town, but what she had found was a deeper understanding of herself and a community that had become her family. The trials she had faced had tested her to her limits, but they had also revealed strengths and resilience she never knew she possessed. As she walked through the serene forest, the sounds of nature enveloping her in a soothing embrace, Emma felt a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. The whispers that had once haunted her mind were now a distant memory, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves and the harmonious songs of birds. She knew that the journey of discovery and protection was ongoing, but she was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in the strength of her community and the enduring bond she shared with Whispering Pines. With the sun setting on another harmonious day, Emma stood at the edge of the forest, gazing into the tranquil expanse before her. The stars began to twinkle in the night sky, their light a reflection of the countless possibilities that lay ahead. She smiled, knowing that Whispering Pines would continue to thrive, its legacy of unity, resilience and harmony, a shining example of the enduring power of community and the natural world. Chapter 9. Shadows of the Mind. The twilight sky bled into darkness over Whispering Pines, the last vestiges of sunlight fading behind the dense canopy of ancient pines. Emma Hartley stood alone on her porch, the cool evening breeze whispering through the trees, carrying with it the faintest echoes of unseen voices. The events of the past weeks had left an indelible mark on her, both physically and mentally. The town's haunting legacy was no longer a distant spectre, but a constant presence in her daily life. Inside her cabin, the air was thick with the lingering scent of burning herbs and the faint aroma of pine resin. The hearthstone, now a symbol of their hard-won peace, sat quietly on the mantel, its purified light casting soft shadows across the room. Yet, despite the outward calm, Emma felt an undercurrent of unease, a persistent whisper of something unfinished lurking just beyond the edges of her perception. Echoes of fear. As the days turned into weeks, Emma found herself grappling with an unsettling reality. The whispers that had once been mere background noise now infiltrated her thoughts, morphing into fragmented conversations and haunting melodies that echoed in the silence of her cabin. She tried to dismiss them as residual effects of the rituals, but deep down, she sensed a deeper, more malevolent force at play. One night, unable to sleep, Emma sat at her desk, poring over the Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary. Her eyes strained from hours of studying, and her mind teetered on the brink of exhaustion. The symbols and rituals they had uncovered were intricate, each one a piece of a puzzle that seemed to grow more complex with every passing day. A sudden chill swept through the room, extinguishing the candlelight and plunging her into darkness. The temperature dropped sharply, her breath visible in the cold air. Emma reached for her flashlight, the beam cutting through the shadows, but what it revealed made her blood run cold. The walls of her cabin seemed to breathe, the shadows twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes that danced just beyond her line of sight. The whispers crescendoed into a cacophony of voices, their tones ranging from mournful to menacing, each one a fragment of a larger, incomprehensible message. Balance, disturbed, revenge. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she struggled to maintain her composure. She knew she needed answers, a way to silence the voices and restore her sanity. Determined, she decided to seek out Mrs. Evelyn Marsh, the town's elder and a repository of Whispering Pine's forgotten histories, seeking guidance. The next morning, Emma made her way to Mrs. Marsh's quaint cottage at the far end of town. The sun was high, casting warm rays that seemed to temporarily dispel the shadows that clung to Emma's mind. Mrs. Marsh greeted her with a knowing smile, her eyes reflecting a deep well of wisdom and sorrow. "Emma, my dear, you look troubled," Mrs. Marsh observed, motioning for her to sit by the fire. "Come, let us talk." Emma settled into a comfortable chair, her hands trembling slightly as she tried to articulate the turmoil that plagued her. "Mrs. Marsh, the whispers, they're getting worse. I feel like the forest is trying to communicate with me, but it's overwhelming. I can't think straight." Mrs. Marsh nodded thoughtfully, her gaze distant as if she were peering into the very heart of the forest itself. "The forest is alive, Emma. It has its own consciousness, its own will. What you're experiencing is not uncommon for those who seek to understand its depths. But beware, for the forest can be both a guide and a deceiver." Emma felt a shiver run down her spine. "Is there something I should be doing? Some way to communicate without losing myself in the process?" Mrs. Marsh reached for a dusty, leather-bound book from a nearby shelf, placing it gently on the table. "This is a journal kept by one of the original settlers, a woman named Lydia Winters. She was deeply connected to the forest, much like you are now. Her writings may offer some insight into what you're experiencing." Emma opened the journal, the pages yellowed with age and filled with Lydia's elegant handwriting. As she read, she felt a sense of déjà vu, the emotions and struggles mirroring her own. Chapter 10. Veils of Despair. The first light of dawn struggled to penetrate the thick canopy of whispering pines, casting long, wavering shadows across the forest floor. Emma Hartley stood at the edge of her cabin, the weight of the previous night's revelations heavy on her shoulders. The whispers that had plagued her for weeks now seemed more insistent, threading their way into her thoughts even during the brightest hours of the day. Inside the cabin, the air was thick with the lingering scent of burning herbs and the faint aroma of pine resin. The Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary lay open on the wooden table, their pages filled with cryptic symbols and fragmented narratives that hinted at deeper, more profound mysteries. Emma's mind raced as she tried to piece together the fragments of information, each new discovery revealing layers of the town's haunted legacy, a haunting presence. As the morning progressed, Emma felt an inexplicable pull toward the forest. It was as if the very trees were beckoning her, urging her to delve deeper into their shadowed depths. Ignoring the nagging fear that gnawed at her sanity, she decided to follow the trail of symbols that seemed to lead into the heart of the wilderness. Clara, Tom, and Mr. Blackwood joined her, their expressions a mix of concern and determination. The bond they had forged over the past weeks had grown stronger, their collective resolve to protect Whispering Pines unshakable. Together, they navigated the narrow, winding paths, the dense foliage closing in around them like a living, breathing entity. As they ventured deeper, the forest seemed to grow denser, the air thick with an otherworldly presence. The whispers, now a constant hum in the background, grew louder, their messages more coherent, yet more disturbing. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she struggled to maintain her composure, the boundary between reality and illusion blurring with each step. The Forgotten Altar. After hours of trekking through the oppressive darkness, the group arrived at a clearing dominated by an ancient altar. The structure was adorned with intricate carvings that mirrored the symbols from the Codex, their meanings still elusive but undeniably powerful. The altar was surrounded by stone markers, each one emitting a faint, pulsating light that seemed to synchronize with the heartbeat of the forest. Emma approached the altar cautiously, her flashlight beam flickering over the surface. The air around her thrummed with energy, the whispers intensifying into a cacophony of voices that echoed through her mind. She reached out to touch the altar, feeling a surge of energy course through her fingertips, a connection forming between her and the artifact. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to tremble, the stones shifting and groaning under the strain of ancient power. The whispers coalesced into a single, commanding voice that reverberated through the clearing. "Restore the balance, or face eternal darkness." Emma recoiled, her mind reeling from the force of the message. "What do you want from us?" she demanded, her voice barely masking her fear. The altar began to glow with an intense light, the symbols pulsing in time with the voice. "The balance has been disturbed. The dark forces seek to reclaim their dominion. Only by embracing the true harmony can Whispering Pines be saved." Clara stepped forward, her eyes wide with realization. "We need to perform the ritual of true harmony. The Codex mentions it, but we never found the details. It must be here." Emma nodded, determination hardening her resolve. "We have to do it, for the town, for the forest, and for ourselves." The ritual of true harmony. Gathering around the altar, the group began to recite the incantations outlined in the Codex Noctis. The air grew thick with energy as they channeled their collective will, their voices merging into a harmonious chant that resonated with the very essence of the forest. The symbols on the altar glowed brighter, their light intertwining with the pulsating energy that filled the clearing. As the ritual progressed, the ground beneath them seemed to shift and reshape, the altar transforming into a nexus of natural energy. The whispers became a guiding force, leading them through the intricate steps of the ceremony. Emma felt a profound connection to the forest, her spirit intertwining with its ancient power, a symbiotic relationship that transcended the boundaries of human understanding. Suddenly, a surge of dark energy erupted from the shadows, coalescing into a formidable entity that stood before them, a manifestation of the forest's wrath, a being of pure malevolence determined to maintain the disturbed balance. The creature's presence was overwhelming, its eyes burning with a vengeful intensity that threatened to consume Emma's very soul. The battle for balance. Emma felt a surge of fear, her mind teetering on the brink of madness as the entity advanced. "You cannot undo what has been done," it snarled, its voice echoing like thunder through the clearing. "The darkness is eternal." Clara, unwavering, held her ground. "We seek harmony, not domination. We respect the forest's natural order." The entity let out a bone-chilling laugh, its form shifting and distorting in the flickering light. "Harmony requires sacrifice. You must choose. Embrace the darkness or perish in the light." Emma knew that the key to defeating the entity lay in the ritual itself, in their ability to harmonize their energies with the forest's natural rhythm. Drawing upon the knowledge from the Codex and the strength of their unity, she focused her will on maintaining balance, channeling the pure energy of the Heartstone to counteract the dark forces. The battle was intense, a clash of opposing energies that threatened to tear the very fabric of reality apart. Emma felt her mind unraveling under the strain, the line between sanity and madness blurring as the entity's dark whispers infiltrated her thoughts. But the support of her allies and the collective strength of their purpose held her steady, preventing her from succumbing to the darkness. As the ritual reached its climax, Emma and her team managed to synchronize their energies with the forest's natural rhythm, creating a harmonious resonance that enveloped the clearing. The entity writhed in agony, its form disintegrating under the force of their unified will. With a final, anguished cry, it dissipated into the ether, leaving behind a serene calm that settled over the forest. A fragile peace. Breathing heavily, the group stood in the aftermath of the ritual, the clearing bathed in the soft light of dawn. The symbols on the altar had faded, their purpose fulfilled, and the whispers had transformed into a gentle murmur of gratitude and acceptance. Emma felt a profound sense of relief, knowing that they had succeeded in restoring balance and protecting Whispering Pines from the encroaching darkness. Clara approached her, a look of triumph and exhaustion etched on her face. "We did it, Emma. The ritual worked." Tom, ever the pragmatist, nodded in agreement. "But we need to stay vigilant. The forest is alive, and its mysteries are far from fully unraveled. Mr. Blackwood, his enigmatic demeanor softened by the experience, added, "We've taken a significant step, but there's still much to learn. We must continue to honor the balance and respect the forest's natural order." Emma felt a deep sense of camaraderie and gratitude towards her friends and allies. "Thank you all. Without your support and strength, none of this would have been possible." Mrs. Marsh, her eyes shining with pride, stepped forward. "You've not only saved Whispering Pines, but have also forged a legacy of unity and respect for generations to come. Remember, the true harmony lies in our ongoing commitment to protect and preserve the balance." Reflections in solitude. That evening, Emma returned to her cabin, the tranquility of the forest now a comforting presence rather than a source of fear. She sat by the window, gazing into the moonlit woods, reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this point. The loss of her husband had led her to Whispering Pines, seeking solace and a fresh start. But she had found much more: purpose, community, and a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. The shadows that had once haunted her mind were now a distant memory, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves and the harmonious sounds of nature. Yet Emma knew that the forest still held many secrets. Its mysteries, an ever-present reminder of the delicate balance between light and darkness. She felt a sense of peace, knowing that she had played a pivotal role in restoring harmony, but also a sense of duty to continue safeguarding the balance they had achieved. As she sat in the quiet solitude of her cabin, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. The forest, once a source of fear and mystery, now stood as a symbol of resilience and renewal. She understood that her journey was far from over, that the bond she had forged with the forest and her community was an enduring legacy that would guide her through whatever challenges lay ahead. Embracing the future. In the weeks that followed, Whispering Pines flourished like never before. The townspeople embraced the lessons they had learned, maintaining the sacred sites and performing regular rituals to honor the natural balance that sustained their lives. The forest thrived, its beauty and serenity a constant reminder of the harmony they had achieved together. Emma continued her research, delving deeper into the Codex Noctis and Eleanor Whitaker's diary, uncovering more about the ancient rituals and the forest's intricate balance. She established a council composed of key community members, ensuring that the knowledge and wisdom they had gained were preserved and passed down to future generations. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves turned vibrant hues of red and gold, Emma gathered her allies at the stone circle for a celebration of their victory and a reaffirmation of their commitment to maintaining the balance. The air was filled with the scent of burning candles and the sounds of joyous laughter, a stark contrast to the darkness that had once threatened their town. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over Whispering Pines, Emma stood before the community, her heart full of gratitude and hope. "We have faced the darkness and emerged stronger because of our unity and unwavering dedication. Let this be a reminder that as long as we stand together and respect the natural order, Whispering Pines will continue to thrive in harmony." The crowd erupted in applause, their voices a harmonious chorus that echoed through the forest. Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had not only found peace for herself, but had also helped to restore balance to a town that had long been overshadowed by fear and darkness. A new beginning. As the night deepened and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Emma found herself alone at the edge of the forest, the whispers now a gentle murmur that blended seamlessly with the natural sounds of the night. She felt a deep connection to the forest, its essence intertwined with her own, a living testament to the enduring bond between humanity and nature. Suddenly, a soft glow emanated from the hearthstone, its purified light pulsing gently in rhythm with the natural harmony of the forest. Emma approached the stone, placing her hand upon its surface, feeling the serene energy flow through her. The whispers of the spirits, now a comforting presence, seemed to express their gratitude and acceptance. "Thank you, Emma," the voices seemed to say, a harmonious blend of relief and peace. "You have restored the balance and honored the pact. The forest is at peace, and so is Whispering Pines." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of closure and a newfound sense of purpose. She knew that her journey had transformed her, revealing strengths and resilience she never knew she possessed. The challenges she had faced had forged unbreakable bonds and had ensured that Whispering Pines would remain a place of harmony and tranquility for generations to come. As she gazed into the tranquil expanse of the forest, Emma felt a profound sense of contentment. The shadows had lifted, replaced by the enduring light of hope and renewal. She understood that while the journey had been fraught with darkness and despair, it had also led her to a place of peace and unity, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of community. With the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon, Emma turned back toward her cabin, the forest standing as a symbol of balance and harmony. She knew that Whispering Pines had much more to offer, its secrets still waiting to be uncovered, but she was ready to face whatever lay ahead, confident in the strength of her community and the enduring bond she shared with the natural world. Chapter 10. Eternal Harmony. The first light of dawn broke over Ravens Hollow, casting a warm glow across the tranquil landscape. Emma Turner stood on the porch of her Victorian house, the morning sun illuminating the once foreboding structure now transformed into a beacon of hope and resilience. The journey had been arduous, filled with fear, discovery, and unwavering determination, but the balance they had fought so hard to restore now seemed firmly in place. A community united. Inside the house, the atmosphere was vibrant with life and activity. Clara meticulously organized the artifacts and tomes they had collected, ensuring that every piece of knowledge was preserved for future generations. Tom, ever the pragmatist, oversaw the repairs and enhancements they had made to fortify the protective barriers around the house, ensuring that Ravens Hollow remained safe from any lingering dark forces. Mr. Blackwood, the enigmatic guardian of the forest's lore, stood by the window, gazing out into the now peaceful woods. His presence had been a steady source of wisdom and guidance, and Emma felt a deep sense of gratitude for his unwavering support throughout their ordeal. Final reflections. Emma walked through the house, her footsteps echoing softly on the polished floors. She paused in the library, where the once daunting shelves were now filled with organized knowledge and the symbols of their successful rituals. The heartstone and the veiled reflection, now harmoniously aligned, pulsed with a serene light, a testament to their collective effort and unity. Sitting down at the large wooden table, Emma opened Eleanor Whitaker's journal once more. The final entries chronicled their victory and the restoration of balance, each word a reminder of the sacrifices made and the strength found within their community. She felt a profound sense of closure, knowing that her grandmother's legacy had not only saved the town, but also brought them all closer together. A peaceful celebration. That evening, the townspeople gathered in the central square for a celebration of their renewed harmony. Lanterns hung from the trees, casting a soft, inviting light over the festivities. Laughter and joyous chatter filled the air, a stark contrast to the fear and uncertainty that had once gripped Ravens Hollow. Emma stood with Clara, Tom, and Mr. Blackwood, watching as the community celebrated their collective triumph. Mrs. Evelyn Marsh approached, her eyes shining with pride and gratitude. "You've done it, Emma," she said softly. "You've not only honored your grandmother's legacy, but have also brought peace to our town." Emma smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "We did it together. Without everyone's support and strength, none of this would have been possible." Looking forward. As the night wore on, Emma found herself alone on the porch, gazing out into the serene forest. The whispers that had once haunted her mind were now a gentle murmur of gratitude and acceptance. She felt a profound connection to the natural world, understanding that her journey was not just about overcoming darkness, but also about embracing the enduring bond between humanity and nature. The forest, once a source of fear and mystery, now stood as a symbol of resilience and renewal. Emma knew that while the immediate threats had been vanquished, the balance they had achieved required ongoing respect and vigilance. She felt a sense of duty to continue honoring the natural order, ensuring that Ravens Hollow remained a place of harmony and tranquility for generations to come. A new beginning. In the weeks that followed, Ravens Hollow thrived like never before. The townspeople embraced their role as stewards of the forest, maintaining the sacred sites and performing regular rituals to honor the elements. The bond between the town and the natural world deepened, fostering a sense of unity and mutual respect that permeated every aspect of life. Emma continued her research, delving deeper into the Codex Noctis and the ancient texts they had uncovered. She established a council composed of key community members, ensuring that the knowledge and wisdom they had gained were preserved and passed down to future generations. The Victorian house, once a symbol of fear and mystery, now stood as a center of learning and community, its halls filled with light and life. Epilogue. A Guardian's Legacy. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves turned vibrant hues of red and gold, Emma stood at the edge of the old grove, the Heartstone's light reflecting in the pond's still waters. The Guardian's blessings had been fulfilled, their presence a lasting reminder of the harmony they had helped to restore. A soft breeze rustled the leaves, carrying the whispers of the forest in a soothing melody. Emma felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that Raven's Hollow was safe and that her role as its guardian was a legacy of strength and unity. She understood that while the challenges they had faced were formidable, the resilience and cooperation of the community had triumphed over darkness. As she watched the sunset, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Emma felt a profound sense of contentment. The journey had transformed her, revealing strengths and connections she never knew she possessed. She was no longer just a survivor seeking solace. She had become a protector and a beacon of hope for her community. With the first stars beginning to twinkle in the night sky, Emma turned back toward her home, the forest standing as a symbol of balance and harmony. She knew that while the past had shaped her, it was the unity and determination of the present that had secured their future. Raven's Hollow had emerged from the shadows, a testament to the enduring power of community and the delicate harmony between humanity and nature.